So it had like swollen from being way past its
Oh,
expiration
God, yes, I
date. It
saw
was
this.
disgusting. Oh, did you? And, but to her, it was like, you know what? If the bad times come, I'll want to have that. And that was
Still good.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, but that was the core of all of her thinking. Like, oh, this cardboard box, I might need that for a thing. Come down there. And there'll be a day when like, I'll appreciate the value in all this junk.
Have you noticed they do the thing where they can't just take the disgusting, gross man's things and just be like, all right, this whole team start moving it to the dumpster. They move it to the front yard, and then this slob has to sit there and sift through boxes of trash and then that psychiatrist has to sit there and be like, oh, we've got a cat skeleton in a shoebox from 1979 here. Do you want that? Yeah, well, that was Snuggles 7, and he was always special in my heart. And even if his eyes were eaten out by the other malnourished cats living in my home, I still want to keep it. Like, okay, we're going to take Mr. Kitten's corpse, and we're going to put him over here in the keep box. And it's like, no, how about you you need to tell this person no. The ship of keeping dead cats in your home has sailed. It's over. You can't do that anymore. When neighbors are complaining because your house smells of dead animals.
Yeah.
In 2016 in the United States, it's an issue.
And oftentimes they're really unsuccessful. Like they'll devote 10 days to cleaning like a single wide trailer, right? And then what do they actually get done? They clean the kitchen of it. And that's it. Yeah. Like they couldn't, like other rooms are still, and it's hard. It's difficult to picture. It's like a dumpster stacked floor to ceiling full of stuff with paths that you can walk through that are often somewhat littered as well.
Yeah.
And,
It's so goddamn disgusting.
Oh,
I like the ones where they throw away the shit that was supposed to be put aside for the me idiot to go through. And they throw it away, and then the next scene is the person on it, the stark raving lunatic pulling through the dumpster, looking for a stuffed bunny with a missing leg or something. Childhood.
And
Me.
Like some of the things we talked about, like almost always, like the things you mentioned, kind of sort of maybe have some sentimental value, like the cat skeleton, which is gross, but like in a twisted part of me kind of gets it. But this is like expired food that they keep, fruits and vegetables with mold on it, boxes, and like ripped open plastic containers.
I saw one where every time they wiped their ass, they took that soiled piece of paper and threw it in the shit paper pile on the floor.
Oh God!
And they just shitty paper go in the shit paper pile.
And they've just been doing that forever.
Where do you put your shit paper?
Keep in mind, he's shitting into a perfectly good toilet. Like he's just wiping his ass and saying, clean. And then throwing it with the rest. And on the floor, there's this big pile of wadded up toilet paper with shit on one side that he's folded together and like stuck the shit in the middle like some sort of surprise for the next guy.
If you've ever been to a third world country, that's what you do. Now they throw it out, of course. They don't just keep it forever. But like, we've talked about this on the show before. I feel like I'm like, oh my God, someone's going to be judging me by my shit paper. They're going to be like, oh, Woody, third world food not taken well to that belly, huh? Like someone's going to be judging my digestive system. So I'm always trying to make sure that like I have a final fold when I put it in there that they can't see, just in case someone opens it.
There was one episode of Hoarders where this lady and this other guy who lived in this house, their toilet broke. And so this was like mid-hoard. This was like year 6 in a 10-year hoarding bonanza for these people. And instead of getting their toilet fixed, they just started shitting in bags and just heaving it up the stairs. And they just they didn't go upstairs anymore. It was like, the second story is the shit story. We just shit in bags and then we went up there, leave it for decades. That was one episode where the guy coming in, that overly nice had to come in and actually talk to the crew and be like, we got to shut this down. Like, we can't have guys walking around in tepid, humid air with decades-old feces floating about. Anything could be in there. That's where the Zika virus came from.
They needed like a spacesuit.
Yeah,
they needed a spacesuit as far as that's concerned. We all have a little bit of hoarder, especially like I can go into my office over here, go in the closet, and find old printer serial cables, like cables and shit. I have old like joysticks from games that still would have to screw into your graphics card, like just ridiculous peripherals. And I don't know why. I just don't throw them away.
So I'm a computer guy.
Your home and you're forced to shit in unnatural places, then we'll have a problem. But
then there's an issue.
Old electronics in a closet in a mansion, so we're okay.
As a computer guy, those things are my absolute nightmare. Like some relative calls up or friend of a friend, like, "Hey, I got this new MacBook Retina Pro. Can you help me get my scanner to work with it?" And it's got like an LPT2 cable from like 1993. I'm like, "No, I can't. I can't get it to work with this. You fucking get a new scanner from this decade. You're out of luck."
Have you ever looked at those, like, I think it's a subreddit, NeckbeardNests? Does that sound right?
I don't know that one.
NeckbeardNests? Yeah, it's like,
are they pimp or terrible?
They're horrible. It's just like somewhere that a neckbeard lives, and wow, there's 250,000 members here. Okay.
The female depression nest is the one that, like, I find the saddest. I guess
that's a forum? Is. Female depression nest?
It's a term. I don't know if it's a forum or subreddit, but yeah, these girls just their room is messy, super duper messy. Like the floor has 4 inches of bullshit on it, and it's their little depression nest where they're spending all their time. And oftentimes the theme is like, "Hey, I cleaned up my depression nest," and there's a night and day difference between where it started and where it is.
Yeah, I just found a woman who posted there, except that's all clutter. This is all closed, misplaced bags of retail merchandise. The neckbeard ones are like piles of shit and cum and bottles of nonsense. And it's like the memes, the cum box, the cum wall. I remember reading the cum wall a long time ago where it was like, "I've been turning on my left side in bed and cumming on this wall every single night, often multiple times, for the last 9 years." And it's like a sideways stalagmite that has begun to form with drippage, and it's hard. Cum is disgusting unless you use it right away, apparently.
Yeah. I like your disclaimer there.
It's best fresh. Oh, I hate these ones with all the dishes in the sink overflowing. How could you walk past a kitchen with it's overflowing in the sink with dishes without starting to clean it?
You're playing Dirty Dish Chicken. Dirty Dish Chicken. You just let it go. Hopefully it drives whoever you live with. It's crazy. If you and I live together, you might lose Dirty Dish Chicken a lot.
Oh, if you and I lived together, it would never get like that. All the dishes would be cleaned. Like my wife cooks all our meals most nights, and I clean because I'm like, you cook, I clean. That's fair. And it's a good system. The kitchen's nice and neat. It's orderly. Everything's in its place. I don't know. I walk into the kitchen, there's a bunch of dirty stuff. It makes me anxious. I hate that.
Yeah. And the truth is, I don't have dirty. I do.
I know.
Yeah.
Do you actually do the dishes, or does Jackie take care of it mostly?
See, doing the dishes, I unload the cleans every morning, and she tends to she cleans the kitchen before she goes to bed. So she puts all the dishes in the dishwasher, runs it, and then in the morning, while she makes eggs, I put all the dishes away.
All the time, like I've fallen into this habit of like, it's one evening's dishes is never enough to fill a load in the dishwasher. And so every day I'll be like, well, I could just use a little scrubber and clean all these and they could be put where they're supposed to be right now. And so I just do that. Like, yeah, I've ran my dishwasher personally. She uses it often. I've used it twice.
We'll run a non-fold dishwasher. I don't like the idea that it has to be like, oh, have you used every available rack space? No, just turn it on so that the dishes are clean.
That's fair. I like knowing that it's where it's supposed to be when I need it, like that it's clean and it's with the other plates and it's with the other plates.
So you do the dishes and put them away in one step.
Yes. Yeah.
Do you use a towel or do you let them dry in the cabinet?
I use towel. Yeah, and I'm not letting them dry in a cabinet. There'll be little bits of moisture in there.
We don't hand wash our dishes. We live in 2020.
Fair. So you're behind.
Touche. Yeah, I was trying to say the 2020s and I didn't say it right.
See, and the saddest neckbeard nests are like this one where it is. Here, I'll link it so we can look at it. It is nothing but cheap empty wine bottles everywhere.
Yeah.
And so it's like, we're peeking into a couple problems here.
Yeah.
Which is very sad. That you got to feel for them. But yeah, that is a rough one. Oh, and the cigarettes. I didn't even go to the page 2 yet. The cigarettes. This guy's smoking cigarettes, putting them out on his mouse pad and leaving it there.
Oh, that's so absurd. That's
Where's his his keyboard's underneath. That's how that works.
Oh, I didn't. Yeah, the keyboard's hidden.
Oh my God! Look at this disgusting shit.
Look, that's got to be like
camera there. Like
that's got to be like 20 bottles of wine, 1,000 cigarettes.
Okay, I really want to take note of this. Let me absorb this for just a moment. I'm trying to okay, those are packs of cigs. Okay, lots of the bottle caps that I'm guessing went to other bottles of wine. I see lots of corks as well.
There's something written in Cyrillic on that mug, but also it says McCafe on that cup.
Yeah, that's just like a joke mug.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's no way.
There's a camera with a tripod.
He's got a nice monitor. I have that monitor. That's like $1,400.
That sucks.
On a night where I just watched 4 hours of Hoarders and made fun of those monsters.
Yeah,
it was a fun time. We had a good time.
Yeah, every so often.
It was too depressing watching Hoarders. I'm like, I don't want to watch this shit.
I know it is depressing, but you just have to stay mad.
I think they were scraping cats that were this thick off the floor. They're like a quarter of an inch thick, and they'd just been plastered to the floor, and it was dead there for who knows how long in the house.
Yeah, there was the one cat where they're like, well, it was under 1.5 to 2 feet of feces. And there was one where they're walking through it, and it's almost like an illusion thing where you look at a painting and you're like, wow, it looks like it's coming right at me. And then they go to the ground level and it is flat as a pancake. And so it's just a cute little kitty looking thing. And I'm like, oh, I hope that one's okay. And the guy reaches down and picks it up by what the tail is, and it lifts like a communion wafer, just fully straight, flat as a board. And in the middle of it, you could see a depression where a shoe had walked over this thing multiple times. So this disgusting bitch walked through the path with this dead cat there and was stepping on it and never even bothered to pick it up, which I guess, why pick up that dead cat? There's a dozen more. And that's not a lie. At the end, it showed this crazy bitch. It was 36 cats were found.
The premise of the show is always about helping these people, fixing them, they're going to cure them. It's 0% cured. They can clean maybe a room if they're bad ones, and the house if they're not bad, and then they go right back to their old behavior.
Yeah, it doesn't really feel like the 2 minutes I watched this makes me an entire expert on this, Woody. You know, so I'm an expert on this too, just to chime in. It did seem like they were just fucking shaming the shit out of these people. And it was clear these people had problems and they needed help for sure. But it didn't really feel like they were put in a situation where they're going to get to the root of the problem, right? It just felt like this was window dressing and shitting on them.
I think if you watch more of it, you'd see they have psychologists on, and they're kind of helping them throw this stuff away and identifying what's trash, what's not, and helping them learn that broth in a box that's swollen and gone bad and 6 years past its expiration doesn't have value. Whereas they're oh, that's a rainy day item. You don't know. You might have
some good stuff in there.
Yeah.
There was a bag of shit being carried away, and one of the ladies goes, my rubber bands. My rubber bands. She wanted to search through a bag of feces to find her rubber bands.
They think everything has value.
You should just be put in jail.
What I always want them to do, when they see that swollen box of broth, and they're like, no, not my broth. I want them to be like, here, have some.
That happened.
This is your rainy day broth. Have some. I want to see them well, I guess they crack it open.
Roach eggs in it.
Oftentimes, the building they're in is ruined. The building is ruined by the things they kept inside of it. They're just this whole building is just better off being torn down and start over.
That's my favorite. When they tore the lady's house down and she's outside crying. Oh, that's such a good show.
We watched that one last night. The one where this lady was just, you would agree if you saw this lady. She was a monster. She was horrible to everybody trying to help her and would not help to get anything done, just being mean the whole time. And it towards the end of it, she's like, well, I think it got a little cleaner. It's just a bit of a work in progress. And then the Chiron on the top of the stream goes, Robin was not able to clean the house. The house has been demolished and she's been charged $10,000 by the state. And I was like,
good.
Nice. She was ruining the property value everywhere. That was a different woman like usually I think what you're talking about, Filthy, of them coming in too hot is usually the family. There's at least one person in the family who's sick and fucking tired of it. But on the other side of that coin, the psychologists are not helpful at all because they go into it way too mamby-pamby, where they will, it almost seems like they're sabotaging it for the sake of the show, where there will be people carrying boxes of literal poop and trash and dead cats out of the house. And the psychologist, as all these guys are busting their ass sweating in a really dangerous environment, will be like, well, hold on, put that box down. Now, Robin, are you okay with us getting rid of these spoons? No, those are good spoons. Okay, how about this cat head? That's one of my favorite cats. And then one of all these ones are popping in my head. It's such a fucking funny show. There was the daughter of a hoarder was like, I left the house at 23, and you know what really scared me about the house was the squirrel incident when I was young. I went in and wanted to make some buttered toast, opened up the butter tray, and there was a calcified squirrel staring right back at me, and really got to me that day. No kid wants to see a dead squirrel in the butter tray. She's like talking how bad that was.
Matter of factly talking about calcified squirrels in the butter tray.
Yeah. But then every once in a while, you get like a high T alpha family member. This one bitch had like 2 sons, and they were not playing the psychologist game of like checking with everything. He just went up to one of the side areas and just ripped out the screen door and was like, we can get it all out this way. Everything out. Everything out. Mom, it's trash. It's fucking trash, Ma. He's just carrying it out, throwing it. My collectible plates. She literally said that. Just cat shit covered plates. My collectible plates.
Yeah, but that's the point of that, right? Like, it's like, there's no way this isn't a choice. You're not going to be rational with someone about this because it's not a rational thing they're doing. Yeah. Right. Like that line of, and maybe this is, you know, who knows what they edited out of this, and we're editing this for TV to make it more interesting, but like, who knows what the actual process is in terms of length of time there and what they're actually doing with these people. But it just feels like this is like the tip of a fucking iceberg. Yeah. Cleaning the house will help, but this is a huge underlying issue.
Absolutely.
And it's just like the stuff that's happening there.
Have any of us ever had like a relative or a friend who was at least borderline with the hoarding?
Yes.
I've never actually walked into a hoarder's house, I don't think. Or no, I have once, but it was like a really organized, like knick-knack kind of hoarder house where they were like, it was stressful to walk around in, but nothing like this show. There weren't.
What'd you have, Woody?
I felt like Jackie's parents kept too many things. Like
I was about to bail you out. I was like, maybe you don't want to talk.
Yeah, maybe should have gone that way, but they
unnamed woman's family.
Paperback books stacked to the ceiling, you know, just like old things. Like it wasn't dirty, like it certainly wasn't like it
was clean refuse.
It can be disorganized, and there was nothing that was like yucky, right? Like you wouldn't want to not eat in the same room as a bunch of paperback books, but it was also like, well, these things are just not good, right? Like. Why
what if you want one on the bottom? Come on.
You know, they didn't have a really big house. It's when I first met her anyway. And he's like, you could use this space for things other than storing worthless things.
Yeah. There was, Kyle, you were talking about wanting them to have to eat the broth. There was one of these crazy ladies last night that, and you know, there's the one guy who's like, my name's Colin Stevenson and I'm an extreme cleaner. You know, like he's kick flipping into the house. And he goes in and he's like Mr. Pro. Nothing shakes this guy. And he grabs the dirtiest mason jar I've ever seen. It looked like they shit smeared on the middle out of this fridge. And there's like a little black nugget of something abnormally shaped about this large. Just a black nugget. And she's like, that's still good. That's a candy. And he's like, it's not a candy. It's not a candy, ma'am. This is in no world a candy. And he's like, it's a candy. She reaches her old hand in, pulls out this gnarled little thing and pops it in her mouth. And she goes, it's a candy. And this extreme cleaner's like, ugh. And he's like talking to the camera, being like, that may be the grossest thing I've ever seen. You know, last week I cleaned up 10 years of human feces in bags on a staircase, and this is the worst thing I've ever seen. And it was like, from that moment on, you could see him like keeping a distance from her, like she's an absolute fucking kook.
I've talked about it before.
And it was not a candy. I will tell you this for sure. That was not candy.
I know. So in Ocean City, 2 houses down, it was a hoarder's house. And the house was so filled with shit, it split open on the side. You could see from the outside, like lamps and dressers and shit came like piling out. Like the corner of the house opened up, and furniture and I don't know, trash bags full of clothing and hangers and stuff popped out.
I think what might help Filthy a little bit for this is like, yeah, it's definitely a whole process to fix the hoarding, but they don't do it like that. They wait until it's like Robin, her house, she's facing 6 months in jail in the next couple months unless she gets this clean. And so they set it up with like the ticking clock. And so then they do the bullshit where it's like, well, let's do the therapy part. And it's like, no. That part was years ago. This part is force them to clean the house against their will, or they will go to jail and have their house burned down. And so, yeah, you're right. I mean, it's all for TV. If they actually wanted to help, they'd be doing therapy way before it was like, crunch time, you got 4 days before the inspectors come in and there's rats running around. One piece of shit dude had hundreds of rabbits in his house running around that just shit on the floor. He was saying that like he was good for the rabbits, but they were walking around like rabbits shouldn't be bald. And some of them were. This one cunt, she didn't clean out the chicken cages enough, and this chicken had filled its own cage with 1.5 feet of shit to the point that it's like crouched down below the top. It's not even the top of a cage. It's an old cooking grate with like a pot with some foul concoction in it. It's just terrible. It stresses me out to watch a little bit.
God, I'm watching tonight now. You've sold me. This sounds hilarious.
Well, I'll be doing more on my stream, everyone. Taylor Murka on Twitch. Go follow me. More Hoarders.
Oh my fucking God. Yeah, that sounds awesome.
It's so funny.
I could picture her so vividly sticking her old gnarled hand down into that mason jar and pulling out that Beezor or whatever the fuck, and just
it's awful. It's a genuinely really gross. The amount of dead animals they find is mind-boggling. Like,
how many dead animals do you have in your house?
But there's something clearly sick with people doing that, right? Like, it's if you're able to readjust your expectation of reality to be like, this is normal, this is fine, like this is just part of my house to have
sort of compulsive behavior.
Foot of fucking chicken shit in my.
A lot of them are broke
like
or spent time broke, and I think that's part of where the hoarding comes from. Suddenly, like if you've lived through a time where you had nothing or you couldn't acquire anything, you don't want to let anything go. It seems like that's the genesis of it commonly.
Some of them are, yeah, definitely.
Do you feel like we have to respect their mental illness though? Because like what I see them often do is mollycoddle them and be like, oh, well, let's just pull the turds out of the box of old rotten books. And that way we can keep the old rotten books with turds on them, but we'll just get the turds out. And they're like, that makes good fertilizer. Well, the grass all died a long time ago because of all the cars leaking oil. So you don't need that fertilizer. They're like, stop bargaining, rip it all out and burn it in the yard. I wish burning was legal, because there's something illegal? So for most people. Yes, Woody. I never like to bring that up on the show, but yeah, that's a crime that you commit every week.
Taylor would have a lot more shit if I knew that.
I think I would too.
Damn it! That goddamn Witch King helmet sitting out there charged to a crisp.
True. They turned it into a helmet. It was anyway.
Yeah, I guess just the part of me that responds to that, it just feels like these people are ill, right? Like you're not going to rationally tell someone, like if you're hearing voices or seeing or hallucinating or something, there's no amount of rationality that comes along with that, right? And I mean, and maybe even that isn't true. Like I was watching some Rogan episode and they're talking to some like marathon runner who she was like, yeah, when she does her 100-mile marathon through the friggin' desert as like without stopping for sleep, she hallucinates and talks to the scenery as she runs. And she rationally was like, I train for this, I deal with this, I just roll, I kind of ride that when it happens. But I don't think you So I don't know. I don't know what the appropriate way is. Presumably the experts on the show do know what the appropriate way is to deal with it, but it makes sense to me that you're not like, you have to get rid of this. It's insane, because clearly there's some disconnect between reality and that.
I think the mollycoddling is their attempt to teach them good from bad in the whole hoarding world. They're like, this is what garbage is. Hey, you can distinguish what's garbage and what isn't garbage, and that's what they're doing. They're selecting it. Now, of course, they suck, and they define everything as not garbage, and then they have to go through it again and again. So usually they're like model coddling off the side while someone else is attempting to actually clean this mess.
Yep, it's exactly what it is. They're not like, they don't come off as very highly respected people in their fields of psychiatry or psychology. They come off as like Dr. Phil-ish, where they're making their questions in a pointed way to try and create drama. And they feel like they're actively inhibiting the help of the people by slowing it down that much. Like, really, the only cure for most of these houses you see is just fire. Like, a lot of it is really hot. It's absolutely irritating. There were these landlords came into the rabbit house, and they were absolutely shell-shocked. They're like, we haven't been here in 2 years, and just they removed like probably 50 rabbits from the house, and they're like, starting to look good. And then a bunch of like little kid bunnies jump out of the wall.
Oh no!
There's even more in there, and none of them want to be picked up, and so they're all just like, scratching me. It just looks like the worst fucking job to be an extreme cleaner. Yeah, and as you're like lugging out a box full of rat skeletons, some lady stops you and goes, "Hey, hold that heavy box of rat skeletons. We need to find AJ, her favorite rat." Well, he's got a little party hat on his skeleton. It's like, dude, you should be in jail. You shouldn't. Dude, imagine that not enough people have empathy for the neighbors in these situations. One of the episodes was called "They Can Smell the House from the Road." And that's not okay for everybody else who lives there. Like, what if any of them want to sell their house? What if any of them want to live their life and move somewhere and uprooot because they get a new job somewhere else?
I could see myself burning that house down. Like honestly.
And then eating the rabbits.
Just waiting till like you saw the old couple go to the grocery store and just
maybe not even that.
Just wait until they turn the lights off late at night, give them an hour to get drowsy, and then lighten her up. Just lighten her up.
No, it's a real good show. You need to put some more hours into watching that. It's very, very funny.
What I like is when they're mean to the hoarders, though. I don't like any mollycoddling. I want like a boot camp where they go in and they're just like I literally want like a Marine drill sergeant to walk in there and like react the same way they do when like there's a fucking sock on the floor in a barracks, but now they see this mess and they just you just see them melting down and turning all red face, and they have a gun for sure, and they're using the gun to shoot the rodents and stuff. Occasionally they just pull it out with no warning, and
I said it before, Kyle. You're an idea man. I love this. To just get those guys like, normally he teaches at Buds, but now he's dealing with hoarders. They just go insane, yelling at him like 1 inch away.
They have to crawl under them.
He doesn't know that this woman has mental health issues. He is just, he's been told he has to clear this house in 12 hours or else.
They have to belly crawl underneath all the barbed wire, but instead of being under fire, they're having to resist picking up broken tea kettles and like farmers' almanacs from 1964. And put that broken pot down. You do not need it. No, but it's still good. I can cook something in there. And then they just bang. One strike and you're out.
Trying to get some overweight 63-year-old to do push-ups.
Dude, there was one. I think I watched like 4 hours of it. There are no skinny hoarders. Though there was one guy that was normal weight. One normal weight guy who looked pretty normal, but he also was wearing just a weird hat, and he liked to keep all of his trash in the yard. But other than him, these people are morbidly obese. Morbidly. Disgusting.
They don't throw anything away. That's got to be part of it.
They're not well dressed.
No,
they're never well dressed. You would think they'd have quite the wardrobe stored away somewhere.
Good thought. Yes, you'd think they'd break out their good clothes.
Have you ever seen an adult that like they look like they're dressed like a toddler?
No, never.
Like, Taylor. He's got, like,
imagine
shorts
that. Are they dressed like 12-year-olds by chance? Yeah. That's some bullshit right there.
Dude, every hoarder looks like the kind of person that pulls their pants all the way down to pee. Just Ben Shapiro style, just straight down. Talking about cool kids, I was watching an episode of Hoarder. So I'm not, unlike you, Bruce, I am bad at video games. And so my most popular streams are me mocking reality shows or videos of people. And Hoarders is just the best for this. And every once in a while, you come across a very high T child. And there was this kid that was living with his fucking nutless ass British guy dad and this horrible woman of a mother hoarding. And he, as soon as like the people get there to be like, we're going to start cleaning up the hoard, this kid is like, he looks like he just got like a free Disneyland pass. He's so excited. And they're like asking him as he's doing it. And this kid's 5. They're like, what do you think, Tom? Or what do you think, Matt? You think this is good to go? And this kid will be like, no, honestly, all of this is useless. It can all go. And he's like, just straight up, he's sprinting in and out, throwing everything away. You're like, you're rooting for the kid. And this is the kid that the mom was so terrible. She was like, they have room to play, and it showed a patch about as big around as my arms are, and these 2 kids sitting there next to like cat shit and refuse, playing with terrible toys. And the mom's like, I didn't think at any point that they were in danger. And it's like, the government's telling you right now they're in danger and they're going to steal them from you. But yeah, it's so easy to hate the people in that show other than the kids and other than Matt Paxton. Matt Paxton's high T.
I love when the government comes in and takes people's kids.
Sometimes it is totally like when you hear that story of like the government's coming to take my kids, it's like, that's horrible. That's so sad. You look at some of these hoarder houses, it's like, dude, it's despicable that this hasn't happened years ago. Like, they're like, oh yeah, my kids have never had a play date because they're too embarrassed to have people over. And the kid will be in the next scene like, can't have a play date, too embarrassed for people to come over. And it's like, that shouldn't be a thing for a 4-year-old.
I would like guess the children would be normalized to it. Like that's surprising to me. I'm sorry.
In a way they are, but also they still go, like, they're kids. They go to each other's, like their friends' houses for play dates or whatever. And so they see regular homes and they're like, oh, there wasn't a single dead cat at the Johnsons. Meanwhile, we're flush with dead cats. Invest in dead cats if you flush. Those people are just the worst. But and I got more diverse with it. For the longest time, I was like, this is just a white people thing. Quite a few black families hoarding on there too. I've found the remaining holdouts, 0 Asians. Not a one that I can find.
You know what I think? I think that's some sort of tomfoolery that the producers are pulling, though. Because I remember Cops used to have this thing where they were like, all right, every night we can only do one black guy. One black guy a night. You guys have no, don't tell me you don't have footage of a white man committing a crime. You get it. You get me footage of a white man committing a crime. No, 2. They're like, 2? 2 white men committing crimes? Yes. Well, when do you want it? Well, next month. Oh, God.
It can't be that hard to find white people committing crimes. Yeah, you know where you go?
Slagging crimes himself.
Go to Goldman Sachs. Go to Goldman Sachs. They're committing crimes all over in that place.
Well, see, that's the thing. They need cops crime. They need the kind of crime that like the regular old patrolman who's riding around at night is going to get called to.
Yeah, and usually it's like domestics, right?
All right,
it's
Florida then.
And stuff. Yeah, it's hard. That was one of the most popular shows in prison. Not Cops, but Live PD. Like, we loved Live PD because we'd strategize about what the guy should be doing. He's doing it all wrong.
Yeah, maybe so, but he's outside and you're not.
Jail. Why is he letting him in? Oh, he was on his way in. What are you letting him in his house for? You don't let him in. He doesn't have a warrant. Oh, now they're in the attic. Well, that's where he keeps it.
You're sitting there watching. He's like, dude, shut up. This is my episode. And this part right here, little movie magic, they actually did that after the fact. It's like, it's really interesting, Pedro. I'll stream like Hoarders. Hoarders was big for a while. People still like Hoarders. Kitchen Nightmares, Hotel Hell, all that shit. And we'd watch some Kitchen Nightmares and Hotel Hell, which is always more upbeat and funny because, you know, well, every once in a while it'll be a little sad. But there was an episode that A&E put of Hoarders on there where I did a little vote in my chat. I was like, what do we do? Another Kitchen Nightmares or Hoarders? Like, Hoarders. So we did a Hoarders. And it was called Tom has a collection of bowling balls in his house. And they had just uploaded that on A&E, and I was like, oh, a nice lighthearted Hoarders bowling balls. There are 2 stories in most Hoarders. They started with the first one, which was not the bowling ball guy. This woman talked about being gang raped for 12 minutes before all the chat and me was like, this is so sad. Go back to Gordon. Back. And it was, I guess I started collecting things because I felt so ugly after being raped dozens of times that no man would want me. And everybody's just like, this is horrific. Like, this is the saddest fucking shit we could have watched.
Yeah. Did you riff on it? Like, I've got jokes for that, but I don't think I should say them out loud.
Those are YouTube jokes, not Twitch jokes.
Right.
At home. But yeah,
my mom's actually a hoarder, 100%.
Really?
It goes back to the getting diarrhea excuse. Like, she would cook with expired ingredients. Like, she would never throw anything out.
Okay.
Because she grew up like poor. I actually did a Twitch stream one time where she wasn't at home and my internet was out here. So I'm like, hey mom, can I stream at your place? She thinks I work for fucking Google or something. She doesn't know what that means. So she's like, yeah, bring the Google over and work. And I'm like, okay. Yeah, so she's gone and I go over to her house, and the goal of this stream was to find the most expired bit of food in the house, just based on, the expiration dates. And it eventually, I lost the clip because I had to delete all my clips due to that Twitch DMCA music thing or whatever. So I just deleted them all. So I lost this one, but I think the item's still there, so I'll just go back and record it someday.
It's even older.
Yeah, it's even older now. But I found most things were expired like 5 years. I found a few things that were about 10 years, actually. Like, no shit. And I found, I swear to God, some sort of canned ham from the expiration date, I believe, was 2002.
Oh, no.
So not only, and you got to think, this canned stuff takes a while to expire. So it's probably
that's from 97.
I was about to say that fucking pig could vote, at this point. It was rough. I'm gonna go and actually record it again, and I'll next time I come back,
When did this start? Like, were you a kid when she started hoarding, or did this happen later in life for her? Like, what happened?
Oh, dude, it's just she grew up poor, so I think she just wants to save everything. And
did you grow up in her house, or was she not like a hoarder?
I think she's always been a hoarder to some degree. Yeah, it got really bad when I got older and moved out, because then I wasn't there to throw shit away.
So is it like more and more stuff every time you go back to visit? Like, is it accumulating? Or so does she collect stuff that's not just food? What kind of other stuff does she keep?
It's not even like collection so much. It's just she does this thing. I think she just thinks that she's constantly going to starve to death. So she just buys copious amounts of food and then never throws it away, but then never eats it. You know what I'm saying? 60? Yeah.
That's a common thread, I thought, that I've noticed in hoarders. Like, they assign value to things that have no value. This is expired chicken broth. But you know what? If things get tight, we can still have some value from this. We could still make a go of it. Maybe you boil it and it's not so bad anymore. And it's like, they just don't want to throw things away because they're worth something to them.
Yeah. Does she have a problem? Like, I mean, I watch the show, but like, she's not having difficulty maneuvering through her house. There's not
she don't.
On the floor.
My mom is nice enough to let me have Halloween parties there occasionally, because here I'm in a neighborhood and the police can get called and stuff. So every year she's nice enough to let me have the house for a little bit. And there was one year where we had planned to do something like go up in the attic and use a Ouija board, And I opened that attic door, and I shit you not, it's like the fucking cartoon where you open a door and shit just falls out onto you. The stairs are completely blocked. Like, what she had done is, I think it was getting to the point where she couldn't walk through the house. So she knew people were coming over, so she shoved it all in the attic. So it's like, it gets to that point sometimes.
Is there a smell because of the food and problems with that?
Most of the food is like canned stuff. I guess she assumes it never expires or something.
That's true.
That's not true at all. No,
believe the expiration date. Like
she doesn't believe it. She doesn't believe it.
Tell you this was bad in 2002 because
I threw away shit from her freezer one day when I was still living there. I think I was 18 at the time. I just graduated, and I was throwing shit out of the freezer because I'm like, man, this is like too much shit and it's old, you know. So I went by, and if it had an old date on it, I threw it out. And she came home and was just like, well, don't throw away that stuff. And I'm like, well, there's no room in the freezer. And she's just like, I got a spare freezer. I didn't even know about it. She's got a spare freezer. And she literally dug through the garbage like Oscar the Grouch and fucking got this shit out and put it in the spare freezer. Right hand to God, she did it.
That is
like Oscar the Grouch.
Like Oscar the fucking Grouch.
Did that make you want to live a lot cleaner when you got out?
I've always been messy and disorganized, but like to a point. And it's not because I don't want it clean. It's just because I'd rather just do something else. You know what I mean? But I'll like once in a while, I'll get the urge just to clean up because I'm like, it's too fucking bad, you know, or whatever.
But you don't do the thing where you assign value to worthless things. I feel like that's
no. I throw shit out. Like if a fucking sauce is like a month out of date, it's going in the trash. You know, because there's no need to. I'm not poor, and I think she's got this mentality, even though she's far from poor, that she could get poor again or something, like doomsday proclamations and shit all the time in her head.
She's always prepping.
Always prepping, yeah, just big prepper. Like she preps. So I think that's where that ham came from, was Y2K actually. So
Jesus.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah.
I didn't know your mom was a hoarder. Were there ever times where you wanted to have people over as a kid, maybe? Where it's like, oh, I could have a hang out with some friends, and it was like, well, no, I can't. I'll have to go to a friend's house because there's not enough room to fuck around. Or was
it's never gotten. It's not quite that bad. She would confine it to like her room or something, you know, like just her bedroom. Or if she knew people were coming over, she'd take it and just move it. You know what I mean? Like out of the way. It's not to the point where it's like a health hazard. You know, I'm not gonna. If she were to
watch Hoarders, she would come out of it feeling like a champion because these people shit in bags. There was one guy who was standing in a burned out room, like so dangerous. Like Matt Paxton, one of the main guys on the show, the cleaner, he was like, frankly, I don't like standing here talking to you. We're on the second floor of a burned out building. Do you not realize how everything is charred? Everything is ash. And the guy who's hoarding is like, a little bit of drywall, this will be fine. And he's like, oh, drywall. You can't hold up a structure with drywall. You can't do that. This is collapsing. And then like I think the guy like stepped his foot down and like a whole board like fell out. Like she would feel like this, she's totally under control if she watched this. There was one, so we have dead cat guessing on the stream where, you know, early on we established that there are cats or animals there and everyone will have to hazard a guess. It's not Price is Right rules. It's you either hit it or you miss it. You have to hit it to get it right. So you can't go with silly guesses. And the highest level of dead cats we ever got was there were 13 dead cats found in one woman's house. And that was with 33 living cats. And
I had to ask, that was my next question. Like, how many were alive?
Or no, it was 33 total cats, 13 of which were dead.
That's a terrible ratio.
It's a lot of dead cats. And you can tell the real bad ones because they won't even give airtime to dead rats and stuff. They'll just be like, another dried out rat husk. Who cares?
That's
dead cats here.
That's another question that put on Ask Women is like, why do you hoard cats in your old age?
I think that might get stricken down for bad faith.
Yeah, probably.
Well, have they ever found a dead human?
No, but there was a woman who hoarded until her husband died in the hoard.
It makes it sound like the hoard came alive and killed him.
It crushed her one. It crushed him one day. There was a Reddit article the other day about a woman who was a blind hoarder. She was a blind hoarder, and I guess someone finally
stuff where my shit go
every day. I have to. All right, let me touch all of my things. So someone finally intervened. You know, it's been going on for a decade and a half, and someone finally comes in and they intervene and they go into what used to be her son's room, and they find his skeleton. She thought her son had moved out because of her hoarding, when in fact he had died in his bedroom and was now surrounded by the hoard.
I can't believe
Jesus Christ.
My God. That's a good one.
How old was the body?
Like,
if it's
old enough to be a skeleton, like 8 years, 10 years, something like that.
God damn.
There had to be a smell. Was she in denial?
Oh,
there's plenty of other smells.
What if there's already a lot of smells going on,
I hear you.
An example of the kind of people who do this. One of the ladies got so tired of sitting on the toilet shitting into a bag because her water had been turned off that she just started squatting in her kitchen over hefty bags, shitting into them, and then throwing them up the stairs.
She's in the kitchen. I bet there's a door that leads outside.
It got to the point that one of the expert cleaners walked up there and he's like, what in the world? And he one of them was open and he just goes, it's human shit. It's human shit. And they come back down and they have to tell her ma'am, this is we need to get the Chernobyl team on this. No way we can do this. And meanwhile, they never show this in the show, but after the houses get condemned, I want to see the neighborhood block party. Where it's just whoa, property value's looking good.
You could totally imagine a scenario in which you need to sell your home. Like maybe you've gotten a job in another city, another state.
Sure.
And but a big part of your savings is tied up in this home, right? Maybe you bought it cash, or maybe it's an inheritance, like you inherited this home.
Can't pay two mortgages at once, new place, old place.
Yeah. Some people can't,
Most
maybe
people can't pay two mortgages.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I suppose not. Yeah. And selling this home is not only time sensitive, but vital to your family's survival. But you can't because there's a hoarder next door with Glad bags full of shit that you can see through the window. You can smell it all the time. The front yard is full of lawn chairs and lawn mowers that don't work. And you just burn it down one night. You just burn it down. You don't care if they're in there or not. You just burn it down.
Every once in a while you come across a hoarder that's so crazy that there was one episode I remember watching. Usually they'll get confronted and they'll be so the best kinds that recover are the kinds that get so embarrassed in front of their family where they're oh my God, I can't even show them. They have an understanding of the shame it is and they overcome it.
Yes.
One woman, they're so what do you feel like doing if we get rid of your ceramic doll collection, just the ones that are broken? And this fat old lady is I'm just gonna get 8 feet of rope.
God damn.
It was she threatened to hang herself half a dozen times over the course of the episode. What are we gonna do if we get rid of this play school set? I'm gonna go in my bathroom and kill myself. Because she kept taking it to Atomic, they had to be all right, well, let her keep the fucking.
Oh, dude. That reminds me. Did I talk about that secret horror channel I had? One podcast we did. I think I did. Maybe a couple ago. But for a lot of that, I just go and film shit out of my mom's fucking storage buildings. A lot of the creepy shit. There's just broken dolls and shit laying around that she has. It's she has storage buildings packed full of just shit. And
how many storage units does she have?
3 that I know of.
Oh, you have no idea how much Taylor is chomping at the bit right now to do a Hoarders episode with your mother.
It would be fun.
I will 100%. I will 100% ask. I'll make up something and say my internet's out. Can I use your internet one night when you're not home? And I'll go and just record everything I find. When she dies, it's gonna be fucking hell. Because she's got so much shit. What am I going to do with it? So,
to sift through it all.
Yikes. Yeah. That's weird when people pass and you've got things left there that have no value, but there's a little bit of emotional value. But it's how much emotional value am I going to am I going to need to be keeping? Like 8 storage units of emotional value? Is that what I'm going to keep? Like, what am I going to come here like once a year and tour my storage units full of emotional memories? Like,
I don't even want one storage unit full of that. Like, I took stuff from my mom's house, moved it into my basement, and even now, like, I've got a pretty big unfinished basement area, and there's like little tubs there of like stuff she used to use to decorate around her house. That I'm just like, do I need these candlesticks? Really? Like, am I looking at these and being like, oh, the memory of mom? It's like,
but it feels weird to throw them away.
Yeah. But like, I've also got a million fucking photo albums down there. Like, I'm going to keep all that. I don't really care about the decorations.
But like when my grandmother died, and I think one of the things that has cured me of that syndrome, that like clinging on to things syndrome, was watching the in-laws fight over my grandmother's possessions like rabid dogs, and just being disgusted by that, and just so gross, just so gross.
Of one thing that I will always keep that my mom gave me, and it has to do with this show. Funny enough, she knew about the joke of everybody calling me an owl, and I've said this before, and she got me like this wire owl thing, looks like an owl, and it's got like potpourri in it. And she got it as like a little additional gift on like a Christmas. And she was like, get it? Because of your show? Because you look like an owl and they say you look like an owl. I was like, I get it, Mom. I get it. And that was one thing that, like, after she passed away, like, I was like in my basement and I was like, oh, that owl thing. Fuck, I hope I didn't get rid of that owl thing. I was like actually like frantically looking around for it, and I found it. And like now it's on my like mantle, like up there. Like it's all, I'll remember it. And so that's like a thing that I'll always remember and be like, that's a fun little memory. Like my mom joking about that
and me, and I'll be tied to it because I was the one that called you the owl.
Yeah, a lot of other people.
When you look at it, I'm sure that's you think Kyle.
Yes. I go,
a single tear, just
a single tear for my living friend.
Exactly.
Yeah, basically that's one that I really do want to keep. You're right. A bunch of that stuff. You're just like, is this do I need this?
It makes me think now, does my mom have an emotional attachment to this fucking 22-year-old ham or whatever? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know where she got it. Did she get it as a gift or something?
I would with the key to open it, where you break it off and like use the key to pry it open.
Yeah.
Oh man, that is old as shit.
She's probably just like, hey, Y2K's coming. I'm scared, and hams keep for 35 years.
I would watch a channel. I would watch a channel where you just ate some of those things,
like shoe nice, just fucking.
Yeah, like if
he's safer than what he does. Yeah,
I don't know. Like so the ham is iffy, but like if you had like a can of like beans, I've read that those expiration dates mean little to nothing. Like that they keep for 100 years. Like if you
the MRE guy said that. He was like, I watched a video about spam that the MRE guy was talking about, and he was like, I always talk about expiration dates. They do not apply to spam. Like, spam, as long as it is not punctured, this will be edible. And I was surprised by that. I didn't know. And if that guy, I'm basing all this on that guy's take, but if that guy has that much faith in spam to last until it's punctured or swollen, yeah, I believe him.
That guy ate hardtack from the Civil War.
Yeah, that guy's awesome.
I like his channel. I think you make an interesting guest. He's an odd guy.
I think my mom watches him, obviously. So, Jesus, dude, she's got so much. See, I hear that. I hear like expiration dates don't mean anything in regards to a lot of canned stuff, but just the idea of eating like a fucking 20-year-old pig that's been dead for 20. You know what I mean? It's just the idea of it that's fucking nasty. Even if it tastes fine, it's just gross. I don't know.
It is a little gross, yeah.
As long as like you can tell the canned food people who are in denial, but like it'll be a can of chowder from 30 years ago, and it will be almost a pop. Oh, what a cute pup! How old is he or she?
Buddy is 9 years old now. He's getting up there.
I saw the Hoarders the other day. It was Jim Norton and the guys making fun of an episode of Hoarders where the old woman had been shitting in bags for 10 years. Her and her husband had been shitting in bags for 10 years, and the upstairs was full of bags of shit because they'd been shitting in bags for 10 years.
Now, was the husband it's rare to me that they're equally insane. Usually one person...
The woman's insane. The husband is just allowing it to happen.
Yeah.
He's just allowing it to happen.
Somehow insanity is not a showstopper for some people. You know, they're like, yeah, you know what? Aside from the fact that we live in a metal dumpster that needs to be tipped into the landfill, she's otherwise fine. And it's like, so that's showstopper.
They're cleaning this place. And like, I've seen horrors before, but this is the worst. There's dead cat bodies everywhere. They'll unzip a bag that she claims is full of treasures, and it's full of roach eggs and like larvae squirming and stuff.
Literal pieces of cats. I know the episode you're talking about. Pieces of cats,
bones, dead, full adult dead cats, bags of shit, as I said before. and it's like tooth and nail. They're fighting her to like clean this place. It's not like she's like, yeah, clean it fucking out.
Right.
She's like, well, what about that bag? That's got memories in it. And it's like, no, that's got maggots in it. And just thing after thing like that. And there's one point where they sit down with her and he's like, you can either have that box or you can keep the house. And she's like, well, I want to keep the house, but I want the box too. Right. And he's just like, no.
They're the most...
have that box or you can keep the house. And she's like, well, I want them both. And in the end, they come to inspect. They come to inspect at the very end. But right before that happens, they look upstairs, and there's so much shit upstairs, so much trash, garbage, rotting material upstairs that it is unsafe for their teams to continue. Not only is it a hazard because the second floor could collapse, but some of the stuff up there is just so gross that they're just not prepared for it.
And if I can interject, this is not a team. Because I know exactly the episode you're talking about. This is not a team that walked in and found the first bag of poop and went, all right, wrap it up. This is done. We're done here. They had found dozens of bags of poop and multiple dead cats on the ground level. And it wasn't until like day 2 when like the happy-go-lucky guy who helps clear all the shit with his team of very unfortunate, probably ex-felons who are assigned to do this, he actually comes out and like solemnly, because up until now, every communication with him and the hoarder woman has been, do you want this old platter that's shattered in 2? Do you want this? Oh, yeah. I need that. My grandson made that for me. Well, it says William Sonoma on the back, so I doubt it. But do you want it? Yes, I need that. And then eventually he starts. You see the camera, him walking like 2 steps up the stairs, past the bags of shit, like he's climbing Everest, and he like peeks up, and he just comes down and looks to the camera and is like, We have to stop. I'm sorry. For the safety of the people here cleaning your house, I cannot put people up there. It is too dangerous. You have shit your home into a danger zone. You have pooped yourself into a place, and you've pooped yourself into a corner. We can't help you. I'm sorry.
Dude, every time
let me tell you how it ends. The city comes and inspects, and they're like, game over, bro. You live in a shithole. The neighbors are complaining of the smell, and now we know why. They fine her $10,000 to tear her house down. They're like, we're going to need $10,000 and for you to get the fuck out of the way because we're coming tomorrow to wreck this shit and burn it to glass.
How many old bags of cheese is that? I have 6 cat heads and a lot of old tampons and a bag of feces. At this point, it's basically compost. You know?
Jimmy, you haven't used tampons since Eisenhower was in office.
Every time you see a hoarder house and they have pets, it's a shithole. Like there is no way that like they keep cats and there's boxes to the ceiling and the cats aren't shitting in little crevices everywhere.
It's totally animal abuse. Completely.
Who cares about them?
Yeah. It's house abuse.
It's neighbor abuse.
Do you remember her excuse?
These people have paid values a lifetime to like just money to the house, and they think there's value in this shit, so they don't realize what they're doing to themselves. Now you have a home that needs to be torn down with an excavator, and there's just like everything about it is rotted through. Your drywall is not salvageable because your cats have pissed on it, and
that's worse. It was so bad, dude. It was the worst they'd ever seen. Her daughter even gives up at one point. There are people crying.
Oh my God. Yeah. Her daughter walks up to go into the house, and it does like that little documentary, like fade to black. And then the text shows up, and then it fades back to the footage, and it just fades and says, Susan Samantha's daughter hasn't been inside the house in 11 years. And like then they do like the little pre-walk-in interview with the daughter, and she's like, I grew up with this. I know what to expect. It's just so sad that it's come to this. She walks one step into the home after opening the door and crumbles in despair, in grief at the look of this home. Imagine someone who is so upset by the way that you live your life that they are they're tearing their clothes like a biblical prophet, just wailing into the skies. And that's what it was. And then like the excuse they asked the lady, rubbing ash on their forehead. Whoa, you know, but then they ask her like, how did this happen? The main woman who was the hoarder. And her excuse was the same thing that I would say if I had like a week's worth of dishes in my sink. I would say, just got away from me. He goes, well, you know, one day you're just working as hard as you can, and then it all gets away from you, and nobody helps. And it's like, whoa, first of all, you're not the fucking victim here. All these poor cats are the victim of your debauchery.
I feel like the cats have it made.
Get away from. There was no way to get through the house. You had to actually step on garbage and meander through garbage.
Killing vermin. Right. Slapping at roaches, shitting where they please, fucking.
This is a cat wonderland.
Welcome to Cat World.
I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, welcome to Cat
World. The whole thing where eventually they get like crushed, you know, by the refuse and like trapped in a corner under bags of shit. Like maybe that's.
Then how are there whole skeletons of cats if this was a wonderland? Do you think that they were trying to jump off of, I don't know, Pizza Box Mountain and then collapsed and crushed them?
Eventually, all cats are going to die. I just assumed that along the way, she had so many wild cats living in her upstairs shit room that a few just succumbed to the fumes.
That's Lester. He died off of Pizza Hut Peak when he crumbled and was tragically lost in the succumbing avalanche. You know? I tried to find him, but I was very quickly overcome by a need to poop in a bag.
Jim Norton was like, can you imagine this bitch squatting over a trash bag, shitting every day for 10 years? And I'm just like,
10 years.
I wonder if that's how she did it.
These
like,
people have the wrong mindset.
Here's how you poop in a bag. All right, let's think about how the mechanics of it are very important to me when I see things like this go down. I have to think like, what was the actual mechanics of shitting in that bag every day? I hope, here's what I would picture an old woman doing. Maybe like getting in a half squat kneeling position, sort of lean forward, and with a handful of tissue reaching back to her asshole and catching the poop, and then sort of making a fist, wiping and retrieving the poop all in one motion and putting it in a bag.
Why can't you just put the bag under your hiney and poop in?
Because you're an old lady who isn't very spry, and squatting all the way down is going to be dangerous.
Is there something wrong with the plumbing? How did we get to pooping in bags?
Yes, the toilet broke.
Yeah, the plumbing broke. Yeah, we didn't explain this. I'm sorry. Basically, her explanation is the plumbing stopped working years ago, and so we just started pooping in bags. We didn't call someone. We didn't have someone come out.
Well, how could you get someone out there?
You just excise that portion of your life. No more pooping in water and flushing it away to the sewer. We now do it in bags, and we also don't take out the trash.
Well, it's wasteful, you know. It uses a lot of water. Yeah. I wanted her to take that route. At one point, they were like, well, the upstairs, it seems that there's about 8 feet of animal shit, and there appears to be a dead homeless man up there. Well, he wasn't dead. He's dead now. How do you explain that? And she would be like, well, it does need a good cleaning. That's what she would say. Like whenever they were like, we went upstairs to room number 3 and there was nuclear waste there. That was meant for Yucca Mountain. How did you get it? And she said, well, it does need a good cleaning. That's her answer to everything. And each step of the way, it was more and more putrid, rotten, and disgusting. Just the smells.
Often they think it has value. Like that's what happens. Like if you see, for example, like a broken broomstick handle in your garage, you say, I have to throw this out. It's taking space and it has no value. They're like, someday I'm going to find a use for that broken broomstick. You know, not right now, but I will need a very short windsock at some point, and that will be perfect for it. And they just save shit that is garbage.
In some situations, it's literal garbage. It'll be like receipts for McDonald's. It'll be pizza boxes, that sort of thing. It's a bizarre disorder. Mm-hmm. I'm a messy guy. I am. I mean, I got
2, 4, 6. I got 8 old Diet Dr. Peppers around me right now. I just do. But there's a trash can right there. And when I get to 12 Dr. Peppers, I'll put them in the trash can and I'll take that one upstairs and it'll go in the dumpster. There will never be a dead animal in here. I mean, it just won't happen. There'll never be a stack of garbage. It just won't happen. That's outrageous. Mm-hmm. Outrageous.
There will never even be a time where you walk downstairs and you're like, my God, there have to be 400 empty cans of soda down here. How did I let this happen? Like, that would never happen.
I'll admit this. With the empty cans, I can get out of hand. I have before, like, especially if I have a gaming area that, like, I'm going there, gaming all night, and then, let's get to bed. Oh, to bed with us. It's way too late to be gaming. And then I leave that mess there, and a day or two might go by of that. Like, especially if I'm playing a lot of games or something, there could definitely be a situation where there's like two old McDonald's bags and like 15 or 20 empty soda cans, which is a huge mess, but there aren't any vermin living in it. And
you know where I get out of hand? Cardboard boxes. Like, we buy a lot of stuff from Amazon, and if you get a lot of your things from Amazon, doesn't take too long before you can fill an area the size of like a executive desk. You know, like just a third of a small room. And it just be like, these boxes have taken over part of my garage. And they don't fit in the recycling bin.
Boxes every day. Every single day. 3 boxes at least.
Yeah.
We have a dumpster, like a big like rollback dumpster that like you would clean up a construction area with, to fill with boxes. And it's full right now. Every month.
If my boxes get to the point where like it's taking some volume, I burn that shit. I just toss it in there. I used to be in my vlogs a lot. Like, you know what? The box has got ahead of me. Yeah, I'm not going to try to like work it out over the course of weeks in my recycling.
I consider doing
That's
something.
also like a fun way to get rid of trash. Like, if you can just be like, I get to burn all this trash. It's suddenly fun. You usually shouldn't burn trash, people. But if it's just cardboard boxes, whatever.
It's fine. What it is. You start with garbage and then you turn it into smoke and then it just goes away.
Yes.
It's much better than
goes up into the atmosphere and then it makes stars.
That's how it works.
It's the air.
That is how it works.
It's nature's dumpster.
I don't think that's how it works, but I don't know enough to dispute it. You know?
Yeah, that's exactly how it works. Same with tires. Everybody wants to bury those. You burn your tires.
They burn for a long time, I'm told.
Everybody was getting shit about pouring oil in the storm drains. Like, I've seen all kinds of water go in that storm drain. If oil was going to cause a problem, then we'd know about it by now. It goes right out to the sea.
You know,
it goes right to the sea.
You're like 400 miles from the ocean.
Are you worried about Aquaman? Like, I don't live in the sea.
It's drained. No way that your storm drain, like in like northern Georgia, goes to the ocean.
It makes it to the sea. No more than mine makes it to the sea.
No. I mean, eventually, I guess
the Mississippi eventually going to the sea. Actually, yeah, you're right. Okay.
Once it enters like the water table and some whatever, I don't know, but yeah, I burn some boxes sometimes so it doesn't get ahead of me. I know it's bad for the environment, but it's good for the garage.
I want to find something cool to do with all the boxes. So I considered once putting them all on the floor and attaching them to one another and making a tunnel through them all, like cutting holes in them about this big. And then our little dogs, the weenies, could go through these crazy adventures. Like, I'm picturing myself as a weenie, and I'm like, oh, it'd be so cool to have all those chambers and boxes to search, and I could hide toys and treats all in them, and it'd just be a cool adventure for them, like make a whole maze out of them. But a more fun thing to do, maybe like stacking them to create a pyramid and having them all have holes in them so that you've created a large volume of potentially explosive gases or something. So that, and then you've got, a pyramid as big as a house, maybe, of cardboard boxes that are filled with an explosive gas of some kind, and then igniting them so they explode.
How would you ignite it? I'm picturing an arrow with like roasted marshmallow on it. Just
yes.
Yeah, there's like 10 ways to ignite it. There's plenty of fun theatrical ways to do that.
Dead cord.
That's like, and it's off.
Not fun enough.
Your idea is better. Like a bow with a fiery arrow is always really cool. It's just so hard to make work. I've done it before. We did that thing for Far Cry where I shot the flaming arrow and lit the stuff. That was so hard to make work.
How does it work? Because it seems because a bow really requires the feathers on the back to make it go straight. If you put something on the front, then it seemed like they would be the better feathers, and it would just fuck about.
No. So on the front you put whatever's burning. In our case, I don't know what's supposed to be used. I think they usually use like pitch or something on a rag and it's attached. I don't know. But what we used was like oily rags or maybe gasoline and oil mixed, or maybe gear oil mixed with gasoline to make a thick, flammable consistency, and then a rag soaked in it, and then like sort of secured to the end of the arrow by taking. Got an arrow.
Is it hard to get diesel burning? It seemed like that'd be a good
thing.
Yeah,
it's really hard to get diesel burning. Yeah. It's.
I know you can't drop a match in it, but I thought if you like held a blowtorch on it, you'd have what you want. No.
Well, it's going to go right out though. It's not going to keep burning because keep in mind we've got to draw the bow and then we've got to loose this arrow, and it's going to be traveling. Even if it's a shitty bow, like it's not a shitty bow, it's just not a compound competition bow. It's probably shooting 200 feet per second. That's 200 feet per second is like fucking 200 miles an hour. It's pretty. It's like 160 miles an hour or something like that. Real fucking fast. So it's going to go right out. You need something that's burning hot and thick so that maybe on its journey there, it's sort of blowing out.
Napalm.
But as soon as it stops, it goes again. We'll see. As you loose the arrow, it's accelerating and you get like some of the material comes off of it. And like my concern with napalm would be that I'm drawing it back and there's a thing with napalm on it right above my hand burning and dripping.
That seems like not a great idea.
Practically speaking, it's hard. It's weird making shit like I always thought the flaming arrow was like, oh, that's fucking easy as hell.
On TV,
so,
I bet there were a lot of blind archers before they figured that out. When they first tried to make flaming arrows.
I've done a lot of stuff with arrows.
God damn it! I thought we had this.
We better figure it out next try. The salesman said there'd be no problem.
Yeah. He said this was the way of the future. Yeah.
I like archery. I like bows. I told you guys about the air gun that shot the arrows, right? Yeah. I did. That thing's fucking cool. I want to get a hold of that thing.
That does sound cool.
I'd never seen anything like that before. I really want to shoot something with it. I want to shoot a pig with it. That's what, whenever I go to a machine gun shoot or some sort of gun expo and I'm talking to manufacturers about whatever their individual product is, I often come back to being like, I want to shoot a pig with that. Like they'll have some slug that like, as it's flying through the air, wings open up around it or something, or chains, or it'll set its enemy on fire, or it'll like liquefy their bones, or whatever new cool bullet they come up with.
Did you see the Luke Cage bullet where it goes and then it burrows and then it explodes later? That would fuck up a pig.
Sure. Yeah. Every time I see something like that, I'm like, I want to shoot a pig with that. Because like I was telling,
hates pigs apparently.
I hate them. I was telling Woody this the other day.
Because
he's never killed anything, and I was like, if you ever want to actually,
Henrietta would beg to differ.
Well, if you ever actually
ruin entire ecosystems and crops and everything.
They're an invasive, gigantic, like 200-pound cockroach. They're really terrible things. They breed incredibly fast. They're ravenous. They destroy landscaping, livestock. They kill pets. They root up what do you call it, when farmers' lands, doing tens of thousands of dollars of damage, and so Texas has laws that allow you to really, really do anything you want, as long as it involves a pig being dead at the end of that. You want to run them down with your car? Absolutely, run them down with your car on purpose. You want to blow them up with explosives, high explosives, sure. Det cord, missiles. You want to set them on fire? We don't care. Shoot them from a helicopter. Well, sure, that sounds like a good industry here in Houston. Let's get a few companies that shoot them from the air. They really hate those things. And so I have no remorse for them. They're ugly animals up close. I'm sure they're highly intelligent, but they're also highly aggressive. Every time I get close to one, although I am in the act of fighting it, it's fought back. I've been in like the ring with bulls and calves and cows, and they just want to get out of there. They don't want to mess with me. They can get aggressive, and I've had one hit a gate and send me flying through the air before, but with a pig, he's like, "Fuck you, human." He's like, I'm gonna fucking human. I'm gonna gore you. And they've always been really aggressive and mean in my experience. So
what is the pig's primary weapon?
They're tusks.
They've
tusks.
Got these because the ones I know of don't have tusks. They just have soft, squishy noses.
Those
are the tasty kind.
You can have both at the same time. They've got I think they call them cutters. They're these teeth that kind of jut out to the side, and they rip left and right with them. They hook with them. Like imagine it's like that dinosaur that does that thing where it like shakes its tail side to side. It hooks you, and the thing I always hear about, remember Old Yeller, the movie Old Yeller, Timmy or whatever the kid's name is up the tree, Old Yeller's fighting the pigs, and they disembowel Old Yeller. That's what they do. They go for your guts, your midsection, and like hook you, tear you open. I was stupid enough to fight that one at that time. I'm lucky he didn't castrate me or something, because that's right about where his head level was. But yeah, they're dangerous to deal with.
Yep.
But fun to kill, because you can use all the cool I have so much respect for a deer that I wouldn't shoot a deer with a 20mm rifle or a 50 caliber rifle. It might be a little funny, but I'd feel bad about it afterwards, because he was just trying to make a living out there and be a deer. But the pig, I'm like, that's kind of an enemy. Like, fuck him. Yeah, shoot him with that 20mm. Let's see what'll happen.
I told you guys about this, but my mom has a problem with expired food not throwing shit out. Like, and so anytime I see a date that's like more than 6 months, out of date, I just throw it out. Even if it's soup, it's some kind of mental thing. Like I've gotten diarrhea too much from my mom. So
oh god,
yeah.
Take that one out of context.
Yeah, that's pretty rough. But it's North Carolina, so Did
she ever get her hoarding more under control? No.
It's a tough
I have a picture. I don't have it on hand right now, but
that's good.
Yeah. It's the most disgusting. It would turn your stomach if you saw it. It was.
Oh no.
It was.
Just a messy house?
No, she started.
Like, try me.
Look at all that laundry.
I might grab it. I might grab it in a second, but no, she started fucking. She was convinced there was going to be some kind of food shortage or some shit, and she started like canning food herself, like jarring it herself. And I went over to her house one day.
She didn't do it right.
One, she didn't do right, and it smelled like fucking. It smelled like a dead body.
No, that was the dead body.
Okay,
no, that was your uncle. We haven't seen.
She had like 30 fucking jars of just the most disgusting. It looks like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Like,
what was
disgusting.
She canning? Beef?
Like chicken and beef? Yes.
Really?
And I'm like, yes, and it wouldn't be that bad. It wouldn't be that bad. You think I'm joking? I'll send you.
You're like emptying a can of chicken to put in your preserves jar to make it last long.
She'll do stuff like that, and it won't be that bad. But the entire fucking basement, she's already done that. Like the basement's full.
Yeah.
So now it's just full upstairs. Like it's bad.
Is food her thing?
Yes.
Okay.
She thinks
those are some of the roughest hoarders based on the show. Like the more easy ones to deal with are like a guy who just loves knickknacks.
Like, is there no way to channel that into like something like constructive, like gardening?
She gardens as well, but she gardens food.
I knew she would, but like I figured like that could be the focus, or like maybe if you take it to even a bigger level, would she love being a farmer?
She is.
Farms.
Yeah.
That's the okay.
She takes she has so I have a fireplace behind me in my living room, and I haven't used it yet, but I'm gonna try to use it this winter, just because it's fun. And my mom, I was thinking like I can go chop my own wood, whatever, but my mom has, I would say, a small forest's worth of firewood she has hoarded over the years, so I can just go grab some anytime I want. In some instances it's good like that, but then when am I ever gonna eat nasty fucking chicken that's been in a jar?
Yeah, that's really good.
Mom, do you have a jar of chicken feed that I can borrow? Do I ever?
You can literally buy potted beef at the store.
You can, but she thinks the stores are gonna lose. She's a conspiracy theory. She's like, I don't know, Alex Jones.
The problem with hoarding is that they put a lot of value on shit that doesn't have much value, so they keep it, they store it. And I give Jackie a hard time when she keeps stuff. I'm like, when are we ever gonna need that?
Yep.
Yeah. But on occasion, that woman is right, and I hate it because it validates her messiness from time to time. And she's not all that bad, but for the purposes of the show. And like we got Colin a trampoline for his birthday, and the guys that put it together broke this like great big spring. And sure enough, she like reaches into the depths of garbage and is like, I have just what we need. And it's this spring this big.
Extra trampoline spring from a decade ago.
It's like, I
told you it was good. We brought this in the move.
Dude, there is no. She literally moved with an old trampoline spring.
I don't know where it came from or why we had it, but
You've never had a trampoline before?
No, this is our first. Well, little ones. Like,
wait, what? She's had that since childhood. That's like every little girl when she's 8 gets an extra trampoline spring in our family. And today mine is what?
That is so bizarre.
All right.
I thought you
Trampolines are
meant
cool.
that she kept one that came with the kit, not that she happened upon a trampoline spring and thought, someday.
She's like, you got.
Someday I'll meet a man who buys our child a trampoline.
The people that assembled our trampoline stretched one of the springs too far, and you know how that works. You stretch it, but too far doesn't go back. And sure enough, she saved the day.
Yikes! Well,
yikes! Right?
We got that photo.
Well, she's been proven right now. Now she's got that over you.
Agreed.
BT sent the photo to Zach, so he can put that up for us.
It's two of them, a close up and then like a wide shot of how many jars she has.
This is her basement.
No, this is her kitchen.
Oh no! Oh God, no! This is Texas Chainsaw Massacre 4.
I told you.
You know what that looks like? That looks like Snape's office in Harry Potter.
It does. It's bad.
What are the white ones?
I don't know.
I mean,
they believe it's right.
They all started brown.
They all started clear.
Now I'm not a canner, but I know that's not how you do it.
Dude,
I'm not a canner.
What are you spotting? What is wrong with it?
No, okay. What's wrong with it?
I mean, generally you don't jar meat. Generally, you're like making preserves. Like I know from an ex of mine who had a very Mormon family. Like Mormons are big on like jarring and like making their own preserves and stuff. It's just something they like to do. And so I like watched them do it. And all of it was just like saving vegetables from their garden, and they'd done it for long enough that it was all like right.
Yeah, veggies like green beans and
green
like
beans, tomatoes, like definitely not chunks of chicken
or pickled but things that pickle well, right?
Pickle eggs,
like obviously cucumbers and pickles, but like asparagus and onions and that sort of thing. And I know people who would can tomatoes, but I have never, outside of like the scariest of gas stations, seen hunks of meat in a jar.
I think there was a human foot in one of those.
No. The only thing I could think of, and this is a bad thought, but I was just like, when this woman passes away, I'm gonna have to throw away so much fucking rotting like food. It's gonna be disgusting.
Yeah,
just throw the whole jar away. There's no way you can open those jars.
There's no way I'm going to. No, I'm going to throw the whole.
Burn the house.
I was just saying, it's bad. She was convinced she lost a safe. There was a safe. No, I'm not. No. Not even lost. She was convinced that someone stole it. This is a common thing with her. No. She has so much shit that she's convinced that someone steals this like one thing. And I'm like, if someone broke in and stole stuff, they would have stole more than just a safe. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It doesn't look like they would have stolen anything.
No,
you can't.
It's like, I gotta get out of here. I don't want to end up in those jars like the last guy who tried this.
Maybe they're like a warning thing. People break in, they see those jars, and they're like, "Fuck this, man!" Like,
I mean, let's be real. If you broke into that house and like you came in through the kitchen door, you're creeping through, the moonlight is coming through the windows, and it's illuminating jars, dozens and dozens of jars full of meat. You cast your gaze around the room and you see the state that it is in. You turn around and you walk the fuck out.
Yeah. Like, this person has enough problems without me burglarizing them.
I like the idea that you go into a house. It's a total wreck. It's a disaster. And you just leave $20 and leave. Like they need these guys need a hand.
Honestly, it looks like she would
I hope things turn around.
It looks like if she woke up in the morning and she had been robbed, that could be a great step forward.
No, she has. So her actual house is decently, aside from the jars, it's decent right now. Aside from one room, there's one room that's really fucking bad. The room she lost the safe in, but she has these.
Still there.
She has the. It's still there. Yeah, we found it. She has these.
You lose a whole safe. There's so much shit.
I choose to believe you could walk in it and it stored guns.
She's got all kind. I'll do like a video for the next time I'm on here, just so you guys can see. I don't think she doesn't know how the internet works, so she won't know. But so she has like three storage buildings on her property full of shit. Yeah, 3. Yeah, wow. Maybe 4. I might be miscounting, but there's at least 3. One is the size, I swear to God, of like a studio apartment. Like it's big. Like I could, if we cleared it out, I could turn it into like a bachelor pad if I wanted to. It's that big. So much fucking shit, and it just has something to do with like she was poor growing up, so maybe that's it. Always, she's like Mr. Krabs. I don't know. Just
that's how I always see it.
Yeah, Sponge Boy, me Bob. It's normal to jar chicken.
I see everything is irreplaceable, so they place a lot of value on it. And in reality, like, but if I were to say to you, hey, I've got a thing. It's the size of a mini fridge. Why don't you hold on to it for 4 years in case you ever need it? You'd be like, that thing is worth $4. I'll just throw it away and buy one if I ever do need it.
I mean, food. It seems like food hoarding is like the most common one for people that grew up poor.
It's food hoarding, but as an example, so we went to my mom's a contractor, so she's got this like discount card at Lowe's Hardware. So she gets like 5% off all her purchases or some shit, frequent buyer discount. So I'm like, hey, come with me to Lowe's. I need a new fridge. Mine's like 15 years old. I need to get rid of it. We go to Lowe's and she's like trying to, I swear to God, she's trying to like haggle the cost of the fridge down like she's at a car dealership.
Did it work?
No. Okay. She's already getting a discount, and the guy's like, "Ma'am, I just work here. Like, I'm not." And I'm like, "Mom, this is not a pawn shop.
Get Mr. Depot on the phone."
Yeah. Call Mr. Lowe's, please. Yeah, need of a word. No, we get it, right? And I'm like, that's a little odd, but it's not a character. Like, she's cheap. She wants the fucking best deal constantly. What's weird is that. So Lowe's will, if you guys ever have had a fridge or like an appliance delivered, they'll take off the old appliance, right? My mom's like, no, don't take off the old fridge. I'm like, Mom, it sounds like a fucking demon's inside of it when it turns off. Like the springs are worn out. It barely works. I'm like, it's about to fucking like blow up. And she's like, no, I want it. And I'm like, are you going to pay me for it? She's like, yeah, I'll pay you like $30. And I'm like, okay. So I just hulked it out and put it on the front porch there, but it's like $30, whatever. But I'm like, she doesn't need it, so I'm thinking about just taking it to the dump, and because
someone should steal the refrigerator off her front porch as a favor.
Nobody's gonna want it. It's a piece of shit. It barely works. Oh, okay.
Yeah, she needs that tape. I don't know. That's not the right way to do it. But yeah, I wish you could somehow convince her that junk is junk.
I have tried. So hard to do because it's like an ingrained like, but when the time comes, I won't have food. And like, if like that's your fixation, I get it. Like, especially if you grew up poor, but like those houses get gruesome. The food porters are so like the people who collect dolls. Yeah, they're strange, but like they're dolls. You could just pick them up and remove them. Whereas like food, it becomes a hazard. What if you drop one of those? It'd be like a dirty bomb.
I was gonna say there's, I think in that picture actually there's one, you can see the one that's spoiled. It's the one that's brown with like the white murky shit.
Can you put the picture back up again, Zach?
So canning is a pretty in-depth process, right? You have to sterilize the inside of the jars by by boiling them first.
First thing you need is edible food.
It's that right.
All right. So yeah, that's some sort of mold or something or bacteria growth that she's got going on in there because it wasn't properly sterilized. The one to the left of that one, though, let's go to that fleshy one that looks like it looks like she just like is that pig intestines?
I don't, dude. Honestly, I didn't ask. I just said, "Hey, something in here smells like shit."
Don't ask. Don't ask.
I'm not gonna ask.
Like
don't ever let her know you're suspicious.
No, I'm not gonna. No, because she'll try to give me some, and I don't fucking want it.
The 1/3 to the right, and actually,
no, Mom, I can't take this. I have to pay you something.
the one behind the white one has more white on top. The two to the right of the other one that has white on top. I can't figure out what the fuck kind of meat is in that 1/3.
Chicken, right? The tall white one.
Oh God,
I think it's chicken, but
with the skin still on it.
Here's the thing: she has food that, she has food that's so old that she has like in freezers and shit. She might have run out of room, so she's canning this like 20-year-old frozen chicken out of the freezer.
No.
Smart. Yeah.
So it's canned, freezer burned, decade-old chicken.
That's like lost its shape. Yeah, it looks like intestines now. I think that's most of this because it's bad, guys. Like I tried to
chicken qualifies for an antique license plate.
No, like I found a ham that could vote one time in her fridge. 18-year-old ham. I swear to God, 18-year-old ham.
Chicken can rent a car.
Yeah. I mean, it's one time is when I first got my like YouTube paycheck. I was still living at home. I was like 18, 19. So I went to the store and I got some fucking groceries, you know? And I came back and I'm like, wait, there's no fucking room in this fridge or freezer. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to go. What's the logical thing you do? You go through, you get the expired stuff out, you throw it away.
Yeah.
So I did that. My mom comes home and you would have think she had seen a ghost. She starts digging the stuff out of the trash.
Oh, and it's already like thawing and it's not.
It's already
anymore.
thawing. And she's like, no, don't throw away the stuff. It's still good. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like it's like 15 years old. You know, and it smells like shit. And she would just like, no, like we can't do that. And she goes and like puts it in this secret fucking freezer I didn't know about. She's got another freezer full of shit. She puts it in that.
She's got a secret freezer. So nobody. Right, I can't let anybody get on to me.
Let's take the picture down.
Let's take it off. It's disgusting. Yeah.
I've had enough of that for the evening. We're laughing about this, but it really is a serious issue.
No, it is. It is. Yeah. I think within 5 years, I'm going to have to do something. I don't know what.
Yeah.
Because it's getting worse. It's getting worse. It can't be normal. It's not normal.
Yeah. And I know I've asked you this question before, but I'm sure you're careful, like in your own life to make sure that like, when's that expire tomorrow? Let's go and get that out of here. Let's go.
Oh yeah.
We're not even gonna wait.
No, when I got the new fridge, I just went through and I'm like, this sauce expired like 3 months ago. Let's throw it the fuck out. You know, I don't need it. Like,
yeah,
I'll buy a new.
I don't need it.
I don't need it.
Like it reminds me of the clips on the show where like there was like some guy will like be collecting food and like his fucking sister who comes from, you know, across the country. Like by the time you're like 35 minutes in and it's the end and he hasn't changed his mind, they're like weeping, like it's all crap. Yeah. It's all useless garbage, John. Don't you see that? Are you gonna choose this canned ham from 1981 over your son? And he's like, you don't know when you might need that ham. He's like, there's ham at the store.
No, that's everybody kind of has that, you know what I mean? Like that. That's that thing where you sometimes go overboard. Like you think you need more than you do. Like just recently I bought myself a nice watch and I'm like, okay, well, I need a watch for this situation, yada yada yada. And I'm like, if I'm not careful though, I'm gonna end up with like 15 fucking watches, you know what I mean? 20 watches that I can only wear one at a time. So I'm like, I got to make these ground rules.
Patently false.
You can
okay, well,
huge sleeve of them.
Ground rules are like, I can only have 5 at a time. If I get a new one, I got to sell the old one. And that's been like the rule I've kind of gone with anything like shoes, fucking clothes, watches, food. You know what I mean? Anything like that. Like
what you're saying is I need 2 more motorcycles.
Exactly. That's it. Yeah. No more than that, though.
It's solid advice to prevent hoarding. I'll get to purchasing.
Prevent hoarding. I'm going to hit my 5 limit sooner or later. You know? I may as well hit it sooner. Damn. That you said as a kid it wasn't quite like it, right?
it wasn't that bad as a kid. My dad passed away when I was younger, so I think that put her into super like survival mode, you know, after that, because it's gradually gotten worse. And now she watches like a lot of news and a lot of conspiracy theory stuff. So it just keeps getting worse. And I'm like, I'm probably gonna have her committed.
Anti-vax?
Yes. Oh, dude. Yes, but she is convinced my uncle is now like a magnet, like a human magnet because of the
vaccine. Because he's vaccinated and you get magnetic afterwards.
That's what she says. And they're like, she's talking about how she's like sticking metal to him or whatever. This was over the summer. And I'm like, Mom, like, you ever lick the spoon and like put it on your nose? Like it's hot as shit.
Like when he leans like this, it stays right on there. It's like, exactly, I think that's more of a gravity thing. I'm looking on just like Reddit. There are like huge forums with like almost 50,000 people about hoarding, but it's people like support groups of people like who have to deal with it in their life. Like does she recognize on any level that it is a problem what she's doing, and she's like, and she'll be like, I shouldn't be doing this, or is it like, no, this is all essential preparation for when the stores are out of food?
I think she's like, I think she's somewhat self-aware, because she, at one point you couldn't get up in her attic because she had so much shit that it was coming down and covering the stairs.
Jesus.
But she'll eventually get rid of stuff to where she could walk up the stairs. Like, she'll declutter the house, but put it somewhere else.
Right.
She's just organizing
efficiently.
Right. So she'll organize. It's not like those jars aren't all across the floor. You know, like they're in a neat kind of area on the counter, and she'll move them to the basement. But there's a certain point where she'll stop like organizing and buy another storage space. So I don't know if she realizes how bad it is. I've tried to tell her, and I've tried to be like, you don't need all this shit. Like, when you pass away, I'm just going to throw it away. Like, you can't take it with you.
Yeah.
So
how old is she?
60, I believe. Yes. Okay. 61. I think she just turned 61. Yes.
And she doesn't hoard anything but food. So she doesn't like keep knickknacks and shit around.
It's stuff too. Yeah. She hoards clothes, food, anything really. Like, she's trying to hoard this 15-year-old nearly broken fridge. And
what about cats? Does she have any cats?
No cats. No pets. Her things are like inanimate objects.
That's good.
Okay. Yeah. Like a dead cat that has been almost like turned into coal. Sometimes by the pressure, they'll discover those. Like we used to have like bets on my streams, and we'd watch and make fun of the show Hoarders about how many dead cats there would be by the end of the episode. I think the worst animal episode ever was there were like 13 dead rabbits, 4 dead cats. They kept having to like fish rabbits out of the wall.
Oh no.
Because they kept finding more and more rabbits living in the wall, because the woman was like, I have all my rabbits and they are well taken care of. And they like take them out there, and there's like a vet on the scene like, I've never seen anything like these poor rabbits. and they're like, he just has rabbit pattern baldness. Like, no, it's because he's living in an old Clorox container you cut out.
No. Wait. Did this not, I mean, this is probably a stupid question. Did this not smell fucking terrible? Like, if there's that
it was one of the times where like Matt Paxton, the Hoarders guy, he walked in, he's like, let's see what let's see what we have here.
Because goddamn, like, that's one thing. I had a squirrel die in my fucking attic once, and that smelled, you know?
Yeah.
And that was
you probably couldn't smell the decaying rabbit over the probably inch and a half of actual rabbit shit that coated the entire floor. Like, you looked taller standing in that room than outside because of like the level of grime and literal poo.
That's so awful. I can't watch those shows. Like those shows make me feel so bad.
It's bad, but at the same time, I don't even have to watch the shows. I have a friend. I just saw her, I don't know, 5 days ago. So we've been friends for a long time, but she won't let me go in her house. The reason being, and she's self-aware. She'll be like, it's like a hoarding nightmare. So she's self-aware about it. Like, she understands it's a thing. and she'll try to like get a hold on it, but she can't.
What if she's really just been holding her mother hostage for like a decade?
I mean, it could be, but her yard's pretty bad too, so I believe her. Like, if I pick her up,
maybe it's the yard man she's holding hostage.
Maybe it could be, but yeah, it's weird. There's two dynamics. There's the people that know it's a problem and still do it, and then there's like my mom who probably doesn't realize it's as bad as it is, and I think my whole family's that way actually. Like every aunt and uncle is kind of similar, so I think it's just accepted.
Yeah, that's wild. Yeah. I've never seen that in real life. I've had I've had messy relatives, but whenever we've had a relative die, when we went over there to like clean the place, that it's almost in my family. It's never like, let's divvy everything up, all of the valuables. Yeah, let's make a big pile of the jewels and the heirlooms. Okay, we got it. All right, here's the pile. All right, like.
There's some guns, I bet.
Yeah, stuff like that. But it's it's always just a mess to clean up. And it's like, where did Grandma get this pistol she always had up here? Apparently, now we've got this random.
They always push tools on me. Woody likes tools. Woody fixes things. Woody probably wants this, and it's like Woody likes matched sets of tools.
Yeah.
I like organized tools with racks.
It would be like it'd be like you going, oh, you like to cook, you love to cook, you have a kitchen, here's 3 mismatched forks.
And that's how it starts. I think is when you accept it, when you're like, okay, I could take a fork or I could take this wrench, and then you get like a little bit of a dopamine rush, like a tiny
you're like hey, maybe one day I find them all. Exactly. You know what they're gonna say? Nobody's gonna be laughing when I got a full set of these.
It's like a Pokemon card or something. Like you get it, and then it's like a tiny little dopamine rush, and then you get addicted.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, you get like 80 forks that don't match, 7 of the same wrench. Like it's just the trick is just being like no. So when my mom, anytime I brought over like a girlfriend or something, and she's like offering them something, I'll just whisper like, "Don't take it. Just say no. Like don't take anything. Don't eat any food." Just don't do it. Like, trust me.
Don't eat any food.
Don't eat any food she offers you unless I give you the green light. I will go in and check the date if it's like a prepackaged thing to make sure it's okay. And I shouldn't have to do that, but I did.
No, you should.
I want to poll you guys on what I should do here in regards to my mother's hoarding, because we have a new chapter, and I don't know how to deal with it. I really don't.
Wait, can you catch me up on the previous chapters?
Yeah. So basically, my mom, she grew up poor, so she doesn't hoard stuff. It's mostly food.
The worst thing to hoard.
The worst thing to hoard. She jars. She's begun jarring, canning things, vegetables, meats, deli meats, gravy. Things that no one should really keep. Yeah, there we go. It's just disgusting.
Those are her jars.
I walked in one day to visit her, and there was just this awful smell. And I looked to my left, and it's like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre house with those fucking jars. And I'm like, geez, is this like a home security system? What is this? Yeah, because I'm about to fucking leave. I mean,
Yeah, that is upsetting.
It's upsetting. But I went over there. I think it was 2-3 weeks ago. Just to visit, and I walk in, and I think Zach should have the picture here. Yeah. And I'm like, Mom, what the hell is going on over here?
Take me through everything. What's on the floor? Take me through everything.
Powdered potatoes, I see. No, au gratin potatoes.
She starts bragging. Thankfully, she'll tell me that she'll tell me what she's doing. So I'm like, Mom, what is all this sauce on the floor? What is this? And she's like, I went to Dollar General and they were having a sauce sale, and I just got all the sauce I could. And I'm like, what?
Wow.
Why?
I wanted a lot of bad sauce.
Number one thing that can lead to food hoarding, from what I've heard, is buying too much.
Yeah, well, it's not just buying. There's another part, and
that's part one.
This is where it gets really disturbing.
Because overbuying is a real thing, especially with groceries. It's like the biggest.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like people who don't have an issue, overbuying is like a big fuck up.
She overbuys so much. She overbuys so much. Okay, you see that box, right? You see that cardboard box?
Yeah.
You'll never guess what the fuck's inside it.
A cat.
Is it those meat jars? Is it the rotten meat jars?
No.
Is it a loved one's ash? Is it a loved one's ashes?
It's food.
75 copies of Man on Fire. Wait, what?
That could be food.
You fucking tricked us. You tricked us there because you said you'll never guess what it is, and I would have guessed food.
Yeah. Well, it is a food. It is, and I'm not shitting you, because I looked and she told me. It's a trash bag of rogue macaroni. It's like 5 pounds.
Oh,
what is rogue macaroni? Like they escaped from the factory?
Rogue no
like
box?
That box was like in an elementary school, a cafeteria.
Something like that. Here's the issue I'm having. Like, okay, she's hoarding food. That's always been a thing. But now she's lying about it. Because she claims, I'm like, where did you get 5 pounds of rogue macaroni? And she's like, they were giving it away at this new steakhouse that opened up.
What? No, they weren't.
Up the road. I'm like, were they? I'm like, they're giving you macaroni. And she's like, yeah, they couldn't use it, so they gave it to me. And then I'm like, where did you get all this stuff on the table here? And she's like, well, I got that at the food drive. I'm like, you didn't do, no, that's not a thing. No, there's none of that stuff.
This is trash. This is garbage.
This is yeah. So I started putting 2 and 2 together. She talked about how my aunt and her son, my cousin, came over, and my aunt is somehow even worse than my mom. And I put 2 and 2 together, and I'm like, my aunt came over, gave this stuff to my mother, and my aunt is a known motherfucking dumpster diver. I've seen her pull chocolate milk out of the dumpster.
Where do you live?
North Carolina. So my aunt brought my mom and my mom will never throw it away. She's going to pass away. I'm going to go to her house, go to the basement, and get assaulted by meat jars, and just macaroni will pour out of crevices.
Have you ever told her that? Have you ever been like, Mom, just so you know, when you go?
I've told her. I'm like, Mom,
I'm going to throw away every fucking Rice Krispie.
And is this new? Is that an oatmeal cream pie cereal?
That's actually pretty enthralling. That's enthralling. No, that's I didn't know that existed.
Bro, this makes it all worth it.
That sounds kind of good. Right?
I actually, now that I've seen this, it wasn't a total loss.
That's crazy. That oatmeal cream pie cereal, bro.
But God knows how expired it is. Like, I don't know where she got it.
Oh, that doesn't go bad.
That's bad right from the beginning.
She has so much food.
Listen,
how long is she expecting to live? Like to 130?
Well, how long has she been doing this?
She's been doing this, I think, since I moved out. And actually, before that, I'd say it's one of those things that's gradually come on.
Oh, there's some more cereal over there, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what Sweetos are. I think it's Cheetos that are sweet or something.
Yeah.
That sounds
cool. It is. I see Tony. I see the fucking the Cheeto.
Chester, yeah.
All right, gentlemen, at the Frito-Lay's corporate table, our problem is our chips. They're too healthy. We're losing the public. What do we do? How about we dust them in sugar? Brilliant, John. Brilliant.
You
Those
got a plan?
fat idiots will eat anything.
Hey, he's talking about your fans.
I am.
Oh. He's talking about the audience here.
My question is, this is getting worse. My aunt is getting worse. My aunt's enabling my mother. Should I just go? Like, I'm seriously gonna poll you guys. I'm gonna come back and read the comments too on the YouTube video and stuff. Should I just go over there one day when she's not home and throw this shit away?
No.
So that'll fuck with her mentally, because this is a mental thing. Like because like most hoarders, they don't actually have like a strict accounting of all their shit. So if you go over there and you see like 2 jars of rancid meat, sneak those out, and that's it. Throw that shit away. Just ways to like keep it from becoming unlivable.
Chip away at it. Like I'm breaking out of prison. I'm taking one.
Personally, that's not me though. Like
fire cleanses all.
That's true. I think if my mom were doing this, I would want to like take the Band-Aid approach and try to like rip it off. Like I'd be like, you know what? I can't deal with this anymore. Just so you know, Mom, like when you go in there, all of the food is gone. Mom, there's no even your good food, Mom. I threw it away for spite. I threw all the food away. You don't have any food at all now. None.
She would probably do like a villain thing and like scream at the heavens.
Like, guess what, Mom? What were you going to eat tonight? Well, I was going to eat the rice. The rice. Nope. There is no rice. It's all gone. Now what are you going to eat? We play
the rotten pig feet. No, those are gone too.
I had to bury those.
She doesn't eat this stuff. Like she doesn't eat it.
You got to go in between the burning the house down and what they do on Hoarders, which is like create content by going like, hey, mentally ill person, are you okay with this can of peaches from 1941 going away? And then like they milk for attention this person's problem. Like there's a middle ground.
I like that.
But I bet if you walked in and like purged the whole house, all it would like do is give her like an excuse of like, all right, Costco trip. He destroyed all of my stores. I need to replenish my stores. And the second you leave, you'd come back the next time and it would be restocked with way more expensive Costco shit or even more cheap sauce.
Like I guess the answer is just like accepting that part of her is hoarding.
Make it about her health. So be like, it's really unhealthy to live in this way. And I love you and I want you to be around for a long time. Please. Like, I don't know.
I approached this like I would if like someone had an eating disorder. I like just did the following same steps that you would do then. And I see that it's pretty close right now. And I'm only saying this because it looks like I've obviously seen way worse hoarding on TV or whatever, but that is bad hoarding. And it looks like it's bad, but it looks like it's not. Like it's probably on the better side of how bad things can get.
It's not that she's like a messy hoarder. She's not somebody to really like that. A lot of that stuff will get cleaned up and organized. She's like an organized she's making like military.
She's stockpiling.
That's the thing. A lot of hoarders aren't organized. Like it just looks like how your table looked there, where she like put all the groceries down there and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But so I was looking at this and it said you can't force someone to change this.
Okay.
You can't persuade, trick, or force them to stopping this.
Okay.
You have to help them to seek treatment.
Oh, God.
Okay, but wait, I did some extra looking. Okay. I looked up North Carolina hoarding rehabilitation and hoarding. Don't let her insurance find out about this just yet.
Okay.
So delete the VOD of this. And, because insurance will try to stop providing coverage for liability against fire, mold, and water damage because of it. However, hoarding is also now, and remember, this is everything I'm saying is not financial advice. I'm the fucking bacon guy on YouTube. I'm just doing some quick searching here.
Sure.
It's compulsive hoarding is now considered a mental disability and is therefore protected under the various disability-related laws.
Okay.
So if she seeks help and maybe it's considered a disability, maybe there's a recourse for her to go to a rehabilitation center and it won't be costly. Because I remember you said that she wasn't so well money-wise.
She pretends to, that's another thing. She pretends to be poor, but she's like loaded. I don't know.
So, then you know what? Then even a better situation to be in, looking for treatment and support, because that's so serious, right? Like rehab. But another thing that I found out while doing this is that like food hoarding can be like signs of dementia, or dementia patients hoard food.
But now, he says this has been going on since he left the house. Like,
knock on wood, God forbid. Like,
it gets worse.
Yeah, my uncle's going through that now, and it's a little bit, and then more and more and more. But they seeing and touching items, like it could be giving them comfort or whatever. So I'm just saying maybe there's something more than hoarding. God forbid, knock on wood, that it's dementia or something. But like at least like this looks like something where it's like, let's get this to the pros.
Right.
You got to get it to the professionals because your mom sounds like a sweet lady and she doesn't want you to worry about where the macaroni came from and shit like that.
I can't.
So she's going to be like, don't worry about me. We're worried about you right now. let's get you some garbage macaroni. You know, like that's where she's at. So I feel like you gotta. Yeah, you got to do that, and also avoid making threats under all circumstances.
You don't throw away those pears, I'm gonna kill you.
No, there was one instance. It was one of the reasons I moved out so early. Like when I started YouTube at 19 or 18, started getting paid for it around 19, and I had moved out by like 2021. I could have saved my money. I could have stayed home, saved my money or whatever. But I moved out as soon as possible because I remember getting my first fucking YouTube like paycheck, and I never really had money before. Like I just worked like a shitty mall job before this. So I go to I go to the grocery store and I get those little $1 Michelinas, dinners because I'm like fucking high roller,
Yeah, I fucking love those though.
I love them too. Which was the chicken Alfredo.
Fuck yeah!
I was gonna say that. I was
on the edge.
Alfredo. Yes. But mac and cheese is pretty good also.
The mac and cheese
they got a weird mac and cheese, but it's their mac and cheese.
And
I like that
school
about it.
mac and
It's hard
cheese.
to fuck up mac and cheese.
It is. But I bought a bunch and I get it home, and I didn't think like, oh shit, there's no fucking room in the freezer. Like this freezer's packed full. And this is what, like 10, 12 years ago? Yeah, 12 years ago. So I start going through the freezer. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to just go through. And if anything's old, I'm just going to throw it out. It's like time this thing gets cleaned out anyway. And I start dumping stuff in the trash, putting my little Michelinas, sliding in there, like Tetrising it in there. And my mom comes home and she literally like does the Macaulay Culkin, like, thing, seeing what I'm doing. And she's like, oh, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm throwing old stuff away. And she's like, no, you can't do that. And she starts digging through the trash like Oscar the Grouch, pulling this stuff out.
Fuck.
And I'm like, Mom, there's no room in the freezer. Like, I can't take this stuff back to the store. What are you going to do? And she's like, I got it handled. And she takes all this garbage. It's like half thawed, takes all this garbage, like 10-year-old fucking steak. There was berries that were frozen like 20 years ago. She's taking, I'm not kidding, by the way. She's taking it all out in a big pile, and she takes it outside and she pulls up this like blanket thing on the porch. I wasn't even paying attention. There's a fucking separate freezer. There's like a hidden freezer.
Oh shit.
And she puts this stuff in this secret like meat cleaver Texas chainsaw freezer.
Yeah.
And I'm like, where did this come from? What's going on? And she's
Does
like,
she ever want to like refresh it and like go in and throw away the old berries, put new berries in, or it's just once it's there, it's there?
No, always new berries. There's no such thing as old berries. All berries are new berries.
Eventually, it's just frozen wine, I imagine, at a certain point. But not like she made some progress. She cleaned out the cupboard one time because I found macaroni and cheese that like expired at the turn of the fucking millennium, like literally, like I found that. I found a ham that could vote, 20-year-old ham. Like it got so bad. I'm like, Mom, this is disgusting. Nobody's gonna want to come over here. I can't have my girlfriend. I used to have my girlfriend over to her house when she would cook, and I'd be like, whatever she cooks and offers you, run it by me first.
Wow.
Or you will get diarrhea. I've had so many Thanksgivings where I'm in the fucking toilet, just diarrheaing from the fucking 20-year-old gravy she served because I didn't check it.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And like, the Andy Griffith theme's playing to the fucking house. So I'm hearing like the whistling as I'm
That's
shitting.
when the gravy was made.
Yeah, pretty much.
Aunt B.
Aunt B probably fucking made the goddamn gravy. Yeah. And she'd do this thing. She'd like, so she'd put out like, she'd make a salad, she'd put out the salad dressings. And I'm like, well, the salad can't be old. It'd be brown.
Yeah.
So that's good. But I'm like looking at all the fucking salad dressings. And I'm like,
the salad can't be old. So that's your anchor point for dinner.
That's my anchor
salad.
point. That's my anchor point. I'm like, the chicken she cooked, if that was old, it would smell really bad, So I'm like, fresh chicken, fresh salad, that's good. But I'm like, I checked all the dressings. Every one of them expired like 4 or 5 years ago. And I'm like, just don't eat the salad. Just don't eat.
Well, that's another thing that I read here. It said safety. Make sure they're safe also. So if there is a dangerous food, like Taylor said, sneak those ones out.
Those meats are
take
fucking
those
dangerous.
out. Yeah, if it's
Those
gonna
meats are very dangerous.
Get those the hell out of there.
I read they're growing botulism in those jars.
Yeah,
it's biological warfare.
She put those in the basement. Here's the thing, though. She put those in the basement, and that motherfucker's got a lock on it. I might have to bust the lock.
Oh, maybe
you're gonna have to. That's just a murder jar.
I could pick the lock. If I bust the lock, she's gonna.
Dude, I'll tell you what. If you want a live stream that I would fucking die for, it's someone like how someone else holds the camera and you like break that lock off and you go down into the meat cellar. like I've sent mom on a vacation to the Caribbean.
I've sent her on a vacation to the Costco distribution center where she can see all the pallets of food.
She's going to the Vintage Can Museum.
She's taking pictures.
No, I just sent her to Sam's Club. You know, she's like, $60 bag of Lucky Charms that's bigger than I am. Okay.
They sell mayo by the gallon.
They sell the whole cow here.
Could you? I don't know, because it's such a mental thing. Could you rationalize it to her if you were having company, being like, and this would even be playing into it, but it'd be like, hey, you don't want to waste any of your stockpile. You should go buy fresh stuff for dinner tonight.
That's the thing, man.
It just doesn't work.
She does this thing. I had to yell at her one time, and I hate I had to do this, but she was like, the best way I can put it is like she was harassing my grandmother at a Thanksgiving dinner, trying to get her to like, she does this thing where she tries to like push food on people to where it's like, it gets to a point where it's like rude.
Yeah.
Like how many times can I say, no, I don't want your old turkey. You know what I mean? I don't want your,
your ancient turkey.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that I get rude, but after a while I can be very honest and direct in situations like that. You know,
I had to tell her, I'm like, Mom, Grandma does not want to take the stuffing home. Stop trying to force pies on her. She's diabetic.
Like, oh my God.
Yeah, like stop. Like you're gonna.
She can't have that. You know that.
She literally can't have it.
She will die. Like you can't do that. You see those lesions on her feet? That's not from carrots.
Jesus Christ. Well, that's an odd one to deal with. I have never experienced
that's
that.
rough, dude.
It's weird.
Yeah, it's so weird too.
Yeah.
Like to deal with. I guess from your point of view, I'm sure.
It's
because like a drug addiction, you can wrap your head around, or I can. You know, like something like that makes sense to me to some extent.
You can be like heroin. Oh, you're addicted to heroin? Well, everyone I've heard talk about heroin says it's very easy to get addicted to.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing with drugs, where it's like that person who's on heroin, like you can push them, you can pressure them, you can put them in rehab, you can do whatever. But until they, on their own volition, go, hey, you know what? The external pressures of me not doing this, that's weaker now. It's the internal, like, this is killing me. I hate, like, that's what has to happen.
Yeah.
How old's your mother?
She is 62, I believe. Yeah.
I think my mom's around that age. Let's see, my mom is 59. I think 59 or
59. Almost nice.
My dad is 69.
Nice. Almost nice.
I think my dad's 69.
Hell yeah. We got it.
Next number.
But no, I've never known anyone who hoarded. I've known people who like kept junk, but like not to the point where it was excessive. To the point where, and even I just recently moved to a new place here. And
I see like 4 things in my camera that I am hoarding. I am currently in the process of hoarding.
Oh, that show's great.
I'm
like that
really
show a lot.
into these shows that are just like chaos porn almost, where it's like 60 days in, intervention, hoarders, the creme de la creme of those in some ways because they get so good. Hoarders can be different. You can get that one lady that has nothing but bags of cat shit and human feces at the top of her stairs, and then there's the other like kind of people where it's like they're just way too into records.
Yeah,
and it's like organized, but it's just controlled chaos. Yeah. And it's way better when it's the cat shit people.
Yeah, I agree. Like some of those people, it's like, wait a minute, if you just sent those guys from the History Channel, like the pickers over here, they'd be delighted, right? Like he's just got a lot of Star Wars figurines laying everywhere. But then you go across town and there's a lady who's literally living in dead animals and human excrement. And they start pulling out the cat skeletons one by one.
Yeah, they find so many dead cats. You know what? There are no hoarders with dogs.
No, the dogs
are. It is a cat thing.
There was a hoarder 2 doors down from me when we moved into our Ocean City house. Our next door neighbors were one was like a motel and the other was a regular person. and then a hoarder. And that house was like, it was the worst of the worst hoarders. They eventually
could you smell it?
The seam of the house broke open from the pressure of the contents inside.
Jesus.
It popped.
Yeah. That's how 12-year-old Woody got in. And we went like
It's also how he got syphilis. Well, for the first time.
It burst. That's how I remember it anyway. I think I'm right on that. And it was just like we walked in and I couldn't believe that people lived that way. There were paths inside the house to like get from room to room. And even those paths weren't always clear. Like you had to step over grocery bags and stuff like that. It's like they started encroaching on the path space. And it wasn't organized and it was junk. Like junk. Boxes full of nonsense, maybe old clothes, rotting food, like broken furniture, like things that had no value. But I guess they thought, I might need 2/3 of a bed rail someday.
It's
keep
a
this
sickness.
around until
it's some sort of weird psychological upset. Jim Norton had a really funny line in some old O&A where he was pretending to be the hoarder. He's like, "Oh, I didn't expect you. Can you give me a decade?"
The house was 3 stories tall. Like it was a pretty good size home. And every story was like that all the way up. The stairs were treacherous to climb. And just like, I don't know, it was like a garbage dump inside a house. And it was insane.
It's crazy. Like, and I'm sure it was like this too, where when the piles of things become so large, they start decomposing, and then it's no longer even, you can't even differentiate what the pile used to be. It's melt. Just a now like melting pile of decomposing shit.
Yeah, shit melts together. Yeah.
Not like literal shit necessarily, but like even like newspapers and all this pulpy stuff. Yeah, there's lots of literal shit too, depending on the number of cats or like, or if they're like pooping all over.
Those people who can't like figure out what to do with their own shit. It's like, this isn't a home anymore. This is a dump. Like I can't imagine a world in which I no longer have a place to shit in my home. Like, can you like I just can't imagine like
go outside.
I would go outside.
I'd rather be camping than live in a dump.
Like if my toilet broke and it was like emergency shit time, there's woods behind my house and I'm going into them to shit. And if it's broad daylight and the neighbors are out playing football, I'm gonna poop in a bucket or something. And then that bucket's going in the woods. There's no circumstance in which I just like continue shitting into the toilet that doesn't work anymore, wiping my ass, and then taking the shitty toilet paper and adding it to the pile of other shitty toilet paper. And that's what they do.
The only people who liked that hoarder were the garbage men, because guaranteed she didn't put anything on that curb for over a decade.
Yeah.
Just all of it kept in the house.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that was one of the episodes where it got condemned. And it was like,
she was crying.
We have to burn your house down because it's so dangerous. You've endangered everyone. That's where COVID started, is what they're going to find out. But yeah, a lot of the time, like, it's rare, but sometimes it's like with like that show, My 600-Pound Life. So often, and that Indian doctor, Dr. Now, speaker of truth, one of my idols, love that guy. But it is refreshing in like 1 out of 10 episodes where someone will come back in and the guy will be like, "Tim, I am so proud of what you've done here. You've lost even more money or more weight than we were thinking." It's like, yeah, Tim. Hell yeah, dude, because it's a nice, you know what I mean, Kyle? Like, I know you've watched a lot of that show also. I don't know if you have, Woody, but like and the reason that's satisfying is because 9 times out of 10, they will come back in, they will lie to his face about, I've only been eating 800 calories a day and somehow I'm putting on more weight. Have you ever considered that it's not the food that's doing it? Have you ever considered that, doctor? Or are you so wrapped up in your science that you can't? And whereas like some mealy-mouthed white doctor might be like, well, there are a lot of ancillary things that could happen. He's like, no, it's the food. It's the food. You're eating too much. Don't lie to me. Don't waste my time. And he'll just like leave. He's like, I'm too busy. I'm too busy for your shit. I got a bunch of other hippos in other rooms to go inspect. And so that show's great. 1,000-Pound Sisters. That's another good one. I've only watched a little bit of that, but those gals are so big that they've begun storing fat in their foreheads and they're losing their sight.
Oh,
like their eyes. They didn't say that, but if you look at them, like they're
That makes sense.
Well, look at this.
Fun Taylor fact,
I need an image.
The entire continent of Asia can't see either.
Let me show you this, and you tell me that these bitches aren't slowly going blind. Especially the one on the left. The amount of forehead fat is encroaching on.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! All right, look. The one on the right legitimately looks like Jabba the Hutt from Star Wars.
Yeah, and the one on the left,
and she's cross-eyed.
Wait, the picture I linked?
Well, you linked like Google.
Oh, I'm sorry, I meant to link this.
No, it's better this way. You get a.
Yeah, I've been showing a bunch of them to people. I wonder if these all the same people. This one looks Asian.
That's after she gained a little more weight.
I can't
see. That's a eye joke.
Scroll down. There's a picture of her with her boyfriend, and that one.
He likes a big booty.
Look at the eye thing that I'm talking about there.
Yeah, that's oh my god! It's like she's got a like right here. There's like a pocket of fluid, like right in the middle of the forehead, the size of like a coaster, a drink coaster.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that she's with a fit black man though, and I bet he's at work with his boys, and one guy's like, "Yeah, my girl got the biggest booty you ever seen," and the other one's like, "Nuh-uh, my girl got a donk," and he's just like, "Gentlemen, let me show you a photograph of my young lady."
Hey, yeah, can you throw her on the flatbed and swing her by the side?
God damn.
Yeah, that's so my joke wasn't entirely wrong. Looks like they're losing their sight.
It looks like she's going to lose her sight
just from fat.
Well, she can't look up for sure. If like a bird was coming down from above, she definitely doesn't have like that angle anymore.
No. And so I haven't watched enough of this show to know if it's that good. Probably not nearly as good as my 600-pound life, because that. Did
you mention 48? The first 48 hours too?
I haven't watched that. No.
Oh, I like that. We watched that a lot in prison, and we would critique the criminals.
What's the premise?
So you follow a law enforcement team. Usually it's maybe like one officer and his partner. I've seen a lot of episodes like that, and you begin right when a crime is committed, like a murder, like this lady. We just an episode I watched. This lady is found in her car. I want to say like her body's been burnt and she's dead in the car. And they're like, all right, clock's ticking. And the idea is that murders that aren't solved within the 48 hours, the first 48 hours, the solve rate it like really drops down. If you don't catch the bad guy in the first 48 hours, then the odds of you catching him are greatly diminished at that point. And sure enough, like 2 days in, like they've got this guy and they're like, we think it's him. And they bring him, he's like, they call him like, hey, we know you're not involved. Like winks at his body, like, we know he's involved. But, we know that you knew Michelle. We'd like you to come in. Like maybe you saw some suspicious character she was hanging around with, like you. And maybe some violent men who were with her buying drugs like you were. So maybe you could come in and talk to us about it. He's like, yeah, sure. He comes into the interview room. He takes a selfie when they leave him alone in one of those Law and Order style interview rooms with the handcuffed table. Like he's chilling, having a. When I saw that, I was like the prisoner next to me. I was like, no way this guy did it. Look at him. He's taking selfies of himself in the interrogation room. Nobody is that loose and like confident. I was wrong. He's just a fucking dumbass. He's the biggest dumbass ever. 12 hours later, they're locking his ass up on the street, dragging him away. And at the end, the credits roll and it's like, he was sentenced to 37 years in federal prison. And you're just like, God damn.
That's interesting that that's such a popular show in prison.
The 48 hours thing I question though. Like, let me lay it out. I used to work in tech support, And the bosses had this thing. They're like, we were discovering that if the question isn't solved on the first call, that question's average lifespan is 5 days. And it's like, so they're like, we need to really focus on getting everything solved on the first call. Okay, genius. If a question's not solved on the first call, it's a hard one. That's why they're lasting so long. It's not if a murder is not solved in the first 48 hours, it has fewer clues. It's not that something about the 48 hours is the primary reason they go on.
Oh, sure. Exactly.
It's that they're tougher ones to crack.
Of course.
Well, and probably like caseload stuff. Like the longer it sits back there, the more.
What it really is that crimes that you can solve in the first 48 hours are easy ones.
Slam dunks or dunks.
Yeah.
What do they call them?
And based on The Wire, they're trying to get their clearance rates up. So they're not going to bother with the really difficult ones because right now, it is going down in Baltimore. You've shown before, I think like a few times ago when you came on, you showed a photo of like what your room looked like in the olden days. Where you're like, man. Yeah, and I would bring chicks here to try and fuck. And it's like there's just an infinite number of empty 2 liters. And
I was thinking about that the other day. I legitimately don't know how I still got laid because women would have to jump over trash to get onto this bed with no sheets on it. It was just a magic.
You know why? Burned into my head. Wings of Redemption would proudly say he plays every game on its hardest mode. That's how Blame Truth plays sex, right? Like he's playing this on veteran mode. He can only get laid with the smoothest of lines as they step over trash.
I think there's some weird thing with it. Like when you don't give a fuck that much, it's in a weird way, it's like attractive, like this guy doesn't care that he's a filthy slob, when girls come over actually, and they have to use the bathroom, I'm like, hey, my bathroom's pretty fucked up. Water damage, like you're going to fall through the floor possibility. And they're like, okay, yeah. And they're like, it's not that bad.
Women like a dangerous bad boy.
Yeah, sure.
Let's just say, baby, you're not the only thing in this house that's extremely wet. My floorboards tenuous. A lot of water soaked through. Yeah,
it is bad. Yeah, I've cleaned up though. I've cleaned up. Yeah.
You showed the new one, and it's infinitely better. Who knew you had that much space in there for walking around?
It's crazy because I'm not necessarily a messy person. Only when I actually start to dislike the mess when it becomes a hassle. Like when I have to jump, I do a fucking vertical leap to get into the bed, or when I'm tripping over like dog shit in the floor. That's when I'm like, okay, we got to clean this up. The dishes start smelling like a dead body. I'm like, okay, now it's time. So I'm not traditionally messy. I will clean it. I've seen worse on like NeckbeardNests, that subreddit, if you guys know what that is.
Jesus. I don't know if we may have looked at that, but like, I mean, waiting until the food on your plates stink.
I don't do that. No, I don't do that. Yeah. No, I just have like empty cans next to me, maybe a dirty fork or something, but nothing too crazy.
You said it called NeckbeardNests.
NeckbeardNests. It makes me feel better about my sometimes, I guess. Oh my
God. This guy's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, it appears to be empty 12 packs of Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Yep.
All over.
Monitors too. It's covered. Yeah. Is that, I can't tell, is that Pabst Blue Ribbon? On the table? Okay.
Oh, those are probably PB. Oh my God. 10 all time. That's the most beer cans I've ever. This is just a bunch of alcoholics, isn't it?
If you go to all time, it is scary.
That's what I'm at. 10 all time. Yeah. Been on it says at the title. Been on a 6-month binge, sobered up, and this is my drinking room. Whoa. Damn, that's sad.
Let's see here.
How can you tell a number 10? Oh,
if you scroll, yeah.
There's one. I'm not sure if it's going to pop up in the top, but there's one where there is a literal syringe on a bed with no sheet, and the bed, it has like a hole in it. And it appears burnt. The bed appears burnt. Hopefully I can find that one because that one's fucking doozy.
Yeah, I'm looking at this guy. At least it's a bunch of waters.
Yeah, that's
like you're just really wasteful, and
it gets sad when they describe it as a depression nest.
Oh,
like it makes me see it through a different lens. Like, oh,
for sure. Like especially the ones with booze all over the place. It's like no one drinking that much is happy. Like someone drinking that much is incredibly depressed.
Oh yeah, for sure. My God, I'm seeing some of these where like mine was never that bad. In my defense, like what is it, the 6-month binge post, like that, mine wasn't that bad.
Was yours ever like depression related? You think that you were in a bad space?
Maybe. I think it was more so that period of time where I got really fat. It was more so than depression. There were bouts of that, but that was caused by me getting so fat, I think, and not I think the other way around.
Could not be in a good space mentally be the root cause of the weight gain?
No, I was trying to gain weight primarily.
Well done, then.
I was seeing how fat I could get and how much beer I could drink, and the depression was a bonus on top of that. That was a freebie.
But you were trying to see how fat you could get and how much beer you could drink?
Yeah, I do weird things. I get into things really hardcore, and it's weird things. It's not like right now. I'm into like cryptocurrency, so I've gone down the rabbit hole. I'm trying to, I'm investing and trying to make some bank this year. 2 years ago, I was trying to get as fat as possible.
But why?
I just get bored. I don't know. I just do challenges, like personal challenges. Yeah. Last year, I was really trying to get in good shape, lose the weight, get muscles, get nice and lean. So I'm just all over the place.
Well, when you were drinking as much beer as you could, you were into probably like sampling and trying a bunch of different ones, and because that was your obsession at the time.
Oh yeah. Oh, I was into so much beer. I mean, I had an entire beer fridge put in my kitchen, actually, just dedicated just to beer. It was probably packed with like 50 at a time.
That's so many.
And then you get into that pack rat mentality of like, do I have enough beer? You know what I mean? Because what if I get so drunk I can't go get more? So.
Or also, you're probably like, oh, I got 60 beers at home, but this artisan beer, I just have to try. This will be so different than on the beers I have at home.
You guys ever see that show, Storage Wars?
Is that where like the pack rats that pack all their shit in?
I'm thinking of Hoarders.
No, Storage Wars, where people like they storage units, right? And people like rent them out to like put their shit in because they got enough room for it and they got no place to do with it, and they just don't want to get rid of it.
Sure, I know what
yeah. So they eventually they come delinquent on their payments and they auction them off at the highest bidder. And people go around storage units and bid on these lockers, and they try to make their money back off of them.
So, stupid question. You get to see what's inside first, right? It's not like Monty. It's not like some game show.
You get to look,
but you're not allowed to go in.
You're not allowed to go in or touch, and you only get 5 minutes to look.
You basically get to walk in front of the door, glance at it, and walk back, and then they'll start the auction.
That's funny. All right.
That sounds like something you would like, Weens.
That is. I want to do that so badly. I want to go out there and bid on lockers because these people are making crazy money.
One guy bought a locker for $1,300, and it had all these
vending machines, and nobody else is sitting there bidding on them. He would have had to go down tooth and nail with my ass.
He made $30,000 off that locker.
Yeah, because vending machines sell for like $4,000 a piece.
Yeah, and they were new.
And new ones sell for like $8,000.
There's a lot of storage areas around here. I wonder if I could check that out.
And people found like some crazy stuff. Like somebody paid $145 for a locker, and they found like these vintage toys still in the wrapper worth like $18,000.
They found the shoes, the authentic shoes they used in the movie.
Yeah, olive oil shoes for like $2,000 right there, and they paid $100 for that locker.
No, my luck, I'd buy the one that have like fake dog shit in it.
Have you guys seen Hoarders?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that show is awful. My wife likes it, and
I watch it all the time.
It's kind of sad. It really is.
It motivates me to keep my shit clean.
We watched one today. There were 2 people in it, and neither one of them came out like cured. Like they fought the process tooth and nail, and at the end of it, they managed to clean. It's going to sound like nothing, but I'll call it a 100 square foot patch in the living room. But that was actually a lot of stuff. And that was it. And you just knew that patch was going to fill up with garage sale garbage in the next 3 weeks. Like they're.
You ever see the ones where they go back?
No.
There's every now and then they go back to people's houses they went and cleaned. I don't think there's a person yet that's been cured.
Really?
Like there's that one girl. The one I always go back to was the one that hoarded food.
Oh my god, it was nasty.
Because that's the worst one.
I saw that one. Yeah. And she said that she thought the food was good unless the container was like expanded and like blown up about to burst because the bacteria growing inside. They had
like pieces of ham that were like black. And she's like, we'll just cut the top layer off.
Yeah. Oh. She had if you can picture like chicken broth in a like paper carton, like almost like you know what it comes in, those like rectangle boxes that can hold liquid. And unless the box was like expanded and almost round from the bacteria and yeast like rising inside the thing, she'd be like, it's still good, it's fine. And there was one that was like starting to expand, and it was 3 years out of date. And she's like, it's fine. It only expanded a little bit. I could still eat this.
She got like meal bugs going through her fucking flour and shit.
And the guy was like, do you know how much bacteria has to grow? Do you know what's going on inside of this before the carton starts expanding even a little bit? And she's like, I guess you're right. Like, it's a close call. My wife sees food that's a week out of date. It's out of here. It's gone. And her stuff was years out of date. She thought
opens one of the bottom drawers of the refrigerator, and like 3 of the people standing around it start puking. Yeah. And she's like, I wonder if this is good. She starts keeping shit in the drawer.
She stirs it up.
Yeah. People were, I remember that. People were, okay, wait, I'm out of words here. Guys were professional, like, hoarders. They were like psychologists that specialized in helping hoarders get better. These experts who do this every day, who deal with hoarders, were barely able to contain their vomit over what they found in her freezer drawer. And she's like, some of this is still good. It was crazy. It was so bad. And we watched it tonight in the living room while we were eating dinner. And I'm just like, this is the worst show ever. Can't we watch Office or something? The Office?
I had to go brush my teeth after I saw that. I couldn't do it.
Oh, yeah, I love watching Hoarders now. Oh, man.
That one was nasty, though.
It makes you wonder how they can't fucking clean these places up, though.
Well, I remember the food one in particular that we've been talking about the most. She came from a poverty background. And so when she gets money, she buys food so that she doesn't go hungry when times are lean, when times are thin. So it's like a little bit of me kind of has sympathy, like, I can see why she's like clinging on to her food.
But how much of you want to cook in that kitchen?
Yeah, well, dude, she's obviously crazy. But and there's a more logical part of me that says, you know what? Here's an idea. Why don't you hold on to your money instead of food? And then, when times are tight, you'll have money instead of like
the food's going to be more scarce and it's going to be through the fucking roof. Obviously. Dude, I live in a hurricane area, and usually when hurricanes come, grocery stores are just sold out.
Yeah.
And even then, the prices are not that much higher.
Yeah. She's just crazy. She's got a little bit of the crazies.
And she's like, it's still good. I'm sorry, if milk.
She goes, I can use that to make yogurt.
Oh, God, I remember that. Yeah, and this is the thing, all the way through, they always have like reasons why this stuff is actually more valuable than you think it is. There was one that had, the lawn chairs that are just plastic, and they're pure plastic. They can't be folded or anything. They sit next to tables oftentimes. And she has them, and they're like cracked and broken and 6 years old. This is disposable furniture. And she has 12-year-old garbage with leaves and stains. And she's like, no, I could sell that. That's still good. It's not good. It's garbage. Your yard is filled with garbage, old tires and stuff. Like, no one thinks that has value but you.
Yeah. There's a woman. This is no lie. There's a woman in our town who drives like a Pontiac van, And she's
Pontiac
like
van.
Yeah, like that. I don't even know what you call it, but it's a Pontiac van. And when she checks her mail, she just throws it in the van, and her van literally looks like a postal carrier, but from where she's just threw mail in there, never got it out. I mean, in the passenger's front seat, mail stacked up to the damn window.
Why?
I don't know. I mean, she's just crazy as hell. Just some crazy ass woman who throws her mail in the van and never gets it out.
She's crazy as hell. I'm gonna question your diagnosis. Where did you get your degree? Like,
Is that the law office of Jaeger and Meister?
Jaeger and Meister. Our partner is vodka. Yeah, PC.
Oh man, dude. Oh, I can't look at. I watch that show Hoarders too much. I look at White Boy's house and it looks immaculate.
Oh man, that one that you linked, Wings.
Oh man, dude, just imagine living in that bitch.
I can't watch
I'd
that
have a
show.
heart attack.
I can't watch that show. I'm too anal retentive about my place. I can't watch that show. I really can't.
You talk about like, I'm very anal retentive about my place. I got like dirty clothes hampers in every room.
You should look up the Funny or Die video called Hoarders. Whore is the first word, where it's about a pimp that has to get rid of all his old whores that he keeps in his house. It's pretty funny.
Dude, but like I'd had to blow my brains off. I had to stay the night in one of these places. I'd be like, you ever go and you're like, do you want something to drink? No, I don't want nothing to drink.
I'll go walk a mile to the 7-Eleven.
Dude. Ugh. That one bitch I linked, she was so fucking lazy. I'm like, I would slap the shit out of her right on camera.
Oh, they come in and they're totally like there to fix lives, right? They're gonna. People don't know. Hoarders of people never throw anything away. They get like emotionally attached to all their stuff, and it like gets to the point where their living rooms are completely filled up to the ceiling with garbage, things that you would think of as trash. And they have little paths that they walk around.
Those doctors, they got way too much fucking patience. I'd come in there, bitch, and be like, why don't you throw some of this shit away?
And
like, my mama gave it to you. Which fucking Pepsi box did your mama give you? We'll save that one.
But that's not a crazy example. Like, they're literally like old sodas, and there's one who kept like food. She was a food hoarder in particular, and she had oranges that were covered in mold. And she's like, yeah, but when you peel them, there's no mold on the inside. She had chicken broth that had expired by like 4 and 5 years, but it was
expanding, right?
Yeah, but that was her criteria. She's like,
yeah, that girl lived by me.
If I ran that show and they did that, I would make like the crew eat one of her meals at the end of it. Like after you cleaned the house up, so you had to cook them a meal.
Oh, that's terrible.
It's so hilarious.
Miles from my house, like they show their address, and I was looking at it. I wanted to meet her, but she was like 3 miles from my house. It was crazy.
Your tours couldn't make it 3 miles.
White boy, do you have your license?
Yeah.
You got all that worked out now?
Oh yeah, I've been having my license.
You're all set.
I could probably walk 3 miles to see some of these houses. Like I'd like to see a house. I had people when I was growing up, which I thought were hoarders, but like that show's changed my whole complexion.